The podcast on Haunted Hill will contain spoilers and swearing.
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
Please hold this, Michael. Be one of us.
I didn't tell you my name. Hang up. I didn't tell them my name.
They're all part of the devil. They're all parts of...
Come. It is time to keep your appointment.
Hello and welcome to the podcast on Haunted Hill, episode 139. I did it that way so you could come in with me.
Oh, hello. we've begun already.
On that, I didn't mean it in that way. Hi, welcome listeners. If this is your first time, Dan and I talk shit. I'm Gav.
And I'm Dan. Gav is Vagina Hero.
I am. That's an anagram of my name, is the Vagina Hero. Crazy as it is the only anagram made from my name. Weird. True.
It's wonderful.
Weird,
absolutely wonderful.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. Yes, we are drifting through so-called summer. We've got a bit of heat, but it's in the UK, but it's also still a bit wet. So it is what it is.
Hot and wet.
But I'm okay, and things are okay. Things are good. I'm very excited though because it's that time. Where we come to our patrons and we rely on one of our patrons.
I know, exciting.
To pick our movie reviews.
I know, it's amazing. And today...
it is none other than...
Come on down.
Holly. Come on down, Holly.
Come on down and join us on the stage.
Here you go, here she is.
We could put you in a box and saw you up like a magician's assistant.
Holly has chosen a couple of movies for us. One neither of us had heard of.
I've not seen both.
I was going to say you hadn't seen either of them, which is fantastic. So just to cover off what Holly's picked for us, she has chosen Razorblade Smile, which from 1998, which would be a very cool band name we discussed, didn't we?
I think so, yeah.
Razorblade Smile. I'm surprised it wasn't. It's a kind of a band name that would have been on the Crow soundtrack or something, You
don't know. There could be a band, and it probably actually is. There's so many independent artists nowadays, like on Spotify.
Yeah. Do you think someone's ever changed their name to Razorblade Smile legally?
No.
Okay, fine. So she's chosen Razorblade Smile from 1998. And also...
I was just thinking that all of a sudden Spotify, like it's for music, it's really good. They should make a Spotify for movies, sort of. I don't know how that would work.
I guess Prime is like that if you just watch the free stuff.
And Netflix, I suppose they are. But anyway, sorry, I'll have to think about that more. What's the other choice?
The other movie is Stephen King book that was transferred into movie.
Yep.
Throw in John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson, and we are talking Cell.
Yeah.
From 2016, although it was made in 2014 and there was a bit of a delay on it. We'll get into that when we discuss it. So this is kind of Stephen King's version, if you will, almost of 28 Days Later, but there's some slightly supernatural elements in there, but also there's some AI sort of technical stuff in there. It's very interesting, and we'll get into that. So Razorblade Smile from 1998. We're talking Razorblade PVC vampires.
We are indeed.
Yeah. Very sexy, in fact, at
boobs
times.
And stuff.
And we're talking John Cusack and Samuel L. Motherfucking Jackson. Boy! So there we go. That's what we're covering. So Holly, we will read out your message in a moment when we get to the review of the movies. But for now, let's have a catch up because it's our intro and we like to talk about what have you been watching, what have we been doing. First thing I want to say, Gav, is happy 50th birthday to hip hop.
Yeah, happy 50th. I didn't really know much of this. I've got to keep seeing things 50th hip hop here and there. What's going on?
Lots of stuff's been going on there, but the biggest thing that happened, or one of the biggest things that happened, is that in the Dodgers stadium, the Yankee Stadium, not the Dodgers. They had an 8-hour concert featuring pretty much anybody who's anybody in rap. And I watched the majority of it. It's on YouTube. So I watched the majority of it. I skipped some of the artists I don't know because they have some modern stuff on there that I didn't know. And Run DMC closed the show and they were phenomenal. Bless him. DMC's voice is going because of his alcohol and drug. He was addicted to alcohol and pills, which is why dodged that a bit. But they were tearing it up. They got everybody to hold up their sneakers in the air, and everybody was on there. You know, Snoop was on there. Dougie Fresh and Snoop did a couple of songs together. There's some. It's just great to see some of the artists on there. That they had DJs, and between every couple of artists, the DJ would come on and do 20 minutes of DJing. So you had like DJ Hurricane, DJ Battle Cat. It's just really fun stuff. The only artists really that weren't on there were some of the very expensive ones like Eminem, Dre, 50 Cent. Some of those guys didn't appear on there, but you know, I'd say it was a very good show.
That's a poor show on their behalf.
Well, I know.
It's not about money, is it?
But it was more about the old school hip hop. You know, they had Melly Mel on there. They had Grandmaster Flash, Furious 5. All of those guys performing. My only gripe would, I'd love it to have been in order, but then you'd have like had a Run DMC right at the beginning, really. So it's great to close the show out with those guys, man. That was phenomenal. If you're going to watch any of it, I'd say watch like the last half an hour and just watch Run DMC. It was so cool, and that's really it. Really, it's just lots of stuff. People celebrating hip hop, and you know, it's 50 years old. It was sometime in August. It was born, if you will. And me and you were both big hip hop heads, and we love it. So yeah, just wanted to mention that. Really, it's
well, thanks.
Cool.
Yeah. I didn't know about that. That's cool. I'll check it out. I went to the cinema and watched Meg 2.
Smeg 2.
Yeah. Ben Wheatley with my young son and eldest daughter.
Jason Statham.
And I quite enjoyed it because I would.
Was it everything you wanted it to be?
It was. It was quite a lot of underwalls. It's quite interesting because it's like it's kind of like. Do you remember Piranha when they rebooted Piranha again?
Yeah, Piranha 3D and 3DD.
And then you get the point where it then goes to the beach with the people towards the end of it, a bit more when the attack happens. This kind of happens in this a little bit, and it's a lot of it was really like down in the trench. It's really actually exploration in underwater, really far down. And basically, Jason Statham, he's down there, and they go in a little thing, but little fucking little robot machine thing they all sit in, like submarine fucking.
I know, like a mini sub sort of thing. Yeah,
there's a few of them, but they get down to the bottom and there's like a whole fucking place down there, like a building underwater. They're like, what the fuck is this? And it's like it's some dodgy geezers doing some dodgy geezery stuff.
Oh.
And Jason Statham's there, so you know, it's geezers and Jason Statham.
Are you telling me? You telling me that there's a whole building underneath this ocean?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. And then so they're a bit like, oh no, they're setting off bombs, whatever. And then, oh no, so they set it off, and there's a big thing, and there's a Meg there, and they already have a Meg. They have a small one at the beginning of the film. We've got one. You know, I don't know. Meg's apparently just a thing, I think, in it now, but it didn't really have any Ben Wheatley fingerprint in whatsoever. It's basically like, you know, you get I think it's like Guillermo del Toro, what's his name?
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro.
Guillermo. The way he would do like one for him, one for the studio, one for him. I'm presuming Ben Wheatley's doing one for the studio.
So that'll make him some bit of money, bit of clout, and then he'll go off and do something a bit smaller and independent again.
Or he said to them, like, you know, like, I want to do a movie, and they're like, okay, well, do this film. It's like maybe he's got something with Universal or whatever. Do this film,
or
and
maybe
we can fund your other film.
Or maybe you just genuinely wanted to blow off some steam and have some fun as a filmmaker. Or
just wanted to do Meg 2, because I enjoyed the film myself. I
expect the budget was huge. They probably threw money at him and said, go for it. And he said,
I'm sure it's a good payday, and he delivered, and he knows what he's doing. So, yeah, it could just be money, but it might be just for him to go and do something else, because I think he's making a horror TV series next.
Yes, he is. You're right. I posted that up in the Facebook group, so I'm excited for that. Talking of sharks,
but if you like Meg 1, you like Meg 2.
Yeah, I wasn't a massive fan of Meg 1, but I am going to watch
fan.
it again. I've got it recorded on my TiVo because it was on TV a few weeks back, so I'm going to watch Meg 1 again. And I'll definitely check out Meg 2. You know I love sharks, Gav. You know I do. And talking of sharks, there is a documentary that's just hit Shudder called Sharksploitation.
I literally today listened to a podcast with the director.
Oh, fantastic. I haven't watched it yet, but I really want to see it. It's basically breaks down all the shark movies, you know, all the crap that I like to watch, and even some of the good stuff, Jaws, etc. From what I hear, this is all from what I hear. I haven't watched it yet, but I also hear that for each shark or each type of shark, they break down whether or not that type of shark, the science behind it, I think. So, you know, could you have a Franken shark? Could you have a shark exorcist? Could you have a six-headed shark with Danny Trejo fighting it? Probably not to any of them, but I love shark movies, and someone's gone out and made a sharksploitation documentary, so of course I'll be checking that out. I haven't seen it yet. It might be a big pile of shit, but...
the director is just chatting all about those sorts of films, and they're discussing all of the Sharknadoes and all that sort of stuff. You just discovered a beer. I thought you didn't have any beer.
Well, I didn't think we did, but my wife just snuck in the room and popped a beer down next to me, so
well, happy days for you.
God bless her. So yeah, Sharksploitation, got to check that out. So that was a good segue, as always. You and I are unified. Have you been watching anything else?
I was with Sarah at weekend. We watched randomly. We watched The Fugitive
with Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Great, and is that Tommy Lee Jones in that one?
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast about it, and I picked up. I happened to then go to a town, see it on Blu-ray, pick it up, and watch it. We did watch Creepshow 2 again, which are big fans of that film.
Talking of, I wasn't going to bring these up, but I will because I know you'll love it. Talking of Harrison Ford and that kind of those kind of movies, I've got back into the sort of action movies that were out, not martial arts, just the more straight action movies that were out a lot in the 90s, and then I've started working my way backwards, and there was a Clint Eastwood, in other words there was a Dirty Harry season on one of the channels recently, and I've got them all to record, and I've been watching them once a week. I've been watching one of the Dirty Harrys, so nice. Man, I am really enjoying these. I watched The Enforcer, which was so good. I don't think I've ever seen it before. The dialogue is ridiculous. Like, only Clint Eastwood can deliver it like the way he does. He's such a grumpy git, but I absolutely love him in it. I watched Magnum Force as well, and the next one I'm going to be watching is our favourite, which we covered, the Deadpool. I'm really looking forward to seeing that one as well. I watched Dirty Harry way back, because obviously that's the first one, but it's not as good. I prefer the sequels, I think.
Yeah, they are all fun. I've got a Blu-ray box set, which is a nice transfer if anyone's interested in picking it up. It's nice. I was thinking of watching one again recently, but chucking it on the old projector, actually, because I thought that'd be quite good.
Well, I got a little segue there, because last night I was a bit sort of at a loose end. I'd written a few bits and bobs up for our episode, done my research, and I chucked on Tarantula from 1955.
That's with Clint, isn't it? It's one of his first movies.
Clint Eastwood, uncredited at the end of that, and you don't see his face. He's got a fighter pilot mask on, but he's the guy that blows up the tarantula at the end. Spoiler alert for a movie that's from 1955. He bombs the tarantula at the end and it explodes. But yeah, I was surprised that Clint was in that as well. So good on you, Clint, for blowing up that gigantic tarantula.
Don't say that. Sarah would be...
Oh, sorry, Sarah.
Would be well unhappy.
Oh, that would be her dream come true, wouldn't it? A gigantic tarantula taking over the world.
Possibly.
She'd be like, it's mummy. She'd be like, come on. Go and eat that King Kong.
Some weird spider thing, yes.
Anything else you've been up to or watching?
No, I've been making the old Star Wars film still, and it's just it's so frustrating it takes so long. It's because it isn't a job. If it was a job and it paid, I could get it done a lot quicker. It's like this week, for example. Last week I was colour grading. I've been colour grading for the past 2 weeks. Pretty happy with the grade. And this week I wanted to go back and check it out again. I can't this week, I'm too busy, so I'll check it out next week. But yeah, it's going really well. Today I recorded some drums for it.
You did.
Because I've got a friend that goes all round the place. He goes travelling with like a group of people with drums, plays Glastonbury, and he goes and does like corporate events and all sorts of things. But he's got
very tribal, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got like a real assortment of drums. So I sent him the song that I've written with the little drums I did, which are little pads here. Just didn't sound beefy enough. And he's also, he actually put in some money to fund us as well.
You should do a cut just for you and I where you use like an 808 to do the real hip hop sounding drums.
Well, you heard the end song that I had to kind of made up, didn't I? Put a drum beat to a snare and stuff. Because that's just turned into like a song, which it wasn't before, which is weird. But yeah, so I did that.
I'm writing some rap lyrics for that as we speak.
Go ahead. And so I'm going to put his drums over the top because he did the same rhythm, the same tempo. But they're just boom, 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 boom. So it's that real sort of King Kong, summoning King Kong drums.
Oh, shit, son.
So when the stormtroopers are in the woods, you've got these boom, 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 boom. Even though I've scored it, I'm going to have to go back to the score a little bit and go, all right, where can I start putting these drums? Because he did loads of other little fill-in bits. So I've got a lot to play with. So it's cool. But the Star Wars film is just amazing. It's like every part of it just looks incredible. It's just like, oh my God, it's so good. But it's just so slow to make.
I've now listened to the score and can confirm it's fantastic. And yes, the colour grading is looking good. It is coming along lovely and beautifully. Like a jewel. And talking of jewels and unseen diamonds, I found a diamond in the rough. Never seen it before. Zoltan, Dracula's dog, the Hound of Dracula, or aka Dracula's dog, from 1977.
I know the name like so well. What country is this? Italy, Spain?
It's actually American production, but it's filmed in Spain, I believe.
Okay, I kind of dig that when you get like American or British productions going into like other language countries to film.
It's got the feel of the Tomb of the Blind Dead with a bit of Hammer sprinkled over the top of it. It's also got the feel of, and this again is a foreign language production company, but they filmed it in England, Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue. The way that works makes the film feel so strange, and it's definitely got that feeling to it, but it's just...
And that's my favourite zombie
really enjoyed
film.
It. Oh, it's up there in mine as well.
Because of that, what you just said, it just doesn't seem correct, but it is.
But it works so beautifully.
It's like an Italian movie, but production, but in England with...
And that's the same with Dracula's dog, with Zoltan. It's great, and it's cheesy. You know, Dracula had a dog that comes back to life. It's a Doberman, but the makeup on it is so good because it's 1977. The Doberman looks great, and its eyes, and then the Doberman starts tracking down one of Dracula's ancestors. So he's called Drake. He changes Dracula. They changed the name to the Drakes over the years, and they moved to America. So he comes over to America. So one of Dracula's sort of familiars comes to America with the dog Zoltan, and they're hunting down his family. And of course, his family have got a dog. The dog gets bitten by Zoltan the Hound, and then suddenly he's got a pack of vampire dogs that follow this Doberman around, and it's just like that kind of Animal Attack thing mixed with a vampire movie. Honestly, really recommend it if anyone hasn't seen it. It's really good, and I ended up giving it, get this, 7 out of 10, which is really high for a cheesy old, what some might consider crappy. You know, it's not a vampire movie; it's more an Animal Attack movie, but there is some vampire stuff in it. Just good. Really enjoyed it.
That's cool. I'll have to check it out. I've been meaning to for forever. I've just never seen it anywhere. You know. I was working at someone's house earlier, and they got a St. Bernard, and the dog was just very needy, leaning against me. And it's so big and heavy, but I was just stroking it, and his mouth was all out, and I was just thinking of Cujo. I've not seen Cujo because I feel like I might be a bit stressed by the child and the dog attacking. But I was
very stressful film.
If this dog was actually attacking you, that would be gnarly. This dog was leaning against me, going, "I need attention." I was like, "Oh my God." That was heavy.
Yeah, when done right, dogs, especially dogs in horror movies, you know, I always think of The Omen.
Yeah.
You know, and I think of that fucked up dog in
Fly 2.
No, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
The poor dog going.
And then
he
also,
got the dog in the thing.
and then the dog in Freddy, where he's got the upside down human face on it. And it's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, some good dogs in horror movies. But yeah. So that was good. And then the last thing I wanted to mention.
Yep.
The other thing I wanted to say is I watched season 6 of Black Mirror, which I didn't really like the first episode with Salma Hayek. I liked the AI sides of it, but I thought that was the weakest episode, even though it was the most heavily promoted.
Remember that episode? But yeah.
But I really loved. Fuck me, there was one episode which I don't want to spoil.
It's hard, isn't it?
But it's about paparazzi.
Yeah, it's in the horror genre.
But my God, the last 2 or 3 episodes are all horror, especially that final episode, which is set in 1977.
Yeah,
fucking hell, that was an amazing episode.
I really like the episodes, but a lot of people on Facebook I kind of just sort of read were moaning because they're like, where's all the technology and stuff? And they've said that they wanted to kind of get away from technology a bit.
Yeah, I mean, there was some technology stuff in there, but what Black Mirror has always done is comment on... It's almost like a warning about what we should be careful about as a society. So, for example, in the paparazzi one... It's saying, and it was set in the 90s, that one, but it's also saying, we've got to be careful because, these paparazzi, they follow everyone and look what happened to Princess Diana, etc. So, there's always warnings in them. And okay, a lot of the Black Mirror episodes in the past have been about using your phone or technology or Facebook or whatever it is. But I really like that they went down the horror route for the last 2 or 3 episodes of the season. And it's just right up my alley. Absolutely loved it. In fact, I've watched that paparazzi episode twice now because it blew me away so much that there was a twist at the end, and I was like, I've got to go back and watch that from the beginning. So the next day I watched it again. Loved it. So yeah, Black Mirror delivers every season, keeps delivering, and that is like the Twilight Zone for our generation, really, or for the younger generation. It's great, really good, very relatable.
It's got quite obviously a following, so when a new season comes out, everyone jumps on it now worldwide and talks about it. So it must be quite hard for Charlie Brooker at times, a bit pressure-wise. The
directors as well that want to be involved, and the actors, because you had that one episode that had Josh Hartnett and the guy from Breaking Bad, and that was big names in that one, and that was
not that you can remember his name.
No, because I never watched Breaking Bad.
Aaron Paul.
That's it, Aaron Paul. I never watched Breaking Bad.
What do you mean you've never seen Breaking Bad?
I've never seen it. Look, there's 3 things I've never seen, and everyone blows everyone's mind. Breaking Bad, Dexter, Game of Thrones. Never watched any of them, and I probably never will because everyone tells me I need to.
I never watched Game of Thrones. Dexter I gave up in season 5 like I did The Walking Dead, but Breaking Bad finishes after there's only 5 seasons. Breaking Bad's great. A dude's got cancer and he's like, what the fuck can I do? Oh, I'm really good at fucking chemistry. Meets one of his fucking students who's just shit in the class because he's jumping out of a house from trying to get away from a man because he's been sleeping with a woman. He just watches a police raid. Anyway, just ends up just whatever meeting him and they just go into business, and then he turns into this nasty fucking I'm the man who knocks.
And the thing is, I feel like I've seen it because it's been on so many clips, so many memes, GIFs.
It's super good TV. If you want to watch it, watch it. I don't feel pressure to watch it. If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. It is super good TV.
I never watched The Sopranos either. And that's one I probably would like to go back and watch at some point. It was the same with The Wire. I was really late to The Wire. The Wire ended.
I've seen Sopranos either.
And about 5 or 6 years after The Wire ended, someone lent me the entire box set, and my God, that was some fucking good television. And the other one I've never seen, which again I'm definitely going to watch, is Sons of Anarchy.
I've literally started watching an episode randomly with Sarah. She came back, she went to Lou, came back, she said, what are you watching? I was like, are you watching Sons of Anarchy? I was like, obviously, have you seen it? She's like, yeah, I've seen it, it's pretty good. And I was like, okay, I might get into it. I was just interested. I dabbled.
Yeah, I am going to watch it. Weirdly, it's all on Disney Plus, so I'll be checking it out.
Yeah.
So there we go. Well, there we go. I think that's everything covered. So we're gonna, in a moment, we're gonna have a trailer for Razorblade Smile. But as is tradition with our patron picks, first of all, let me present the crown to Holly. Here is the patron pick crown. You are the queen of this episode, and I'm going to read out her message to us. So she's very short and sweet.
And thank you kindly, Holly, up front. I don't know obviously what you can say, but thank you very much for sending us in your picks.
Yeah, thank you. We really appreciate that. And it's honestly, there's no pressure for future patrons to ever write anything long or short. You can do whatever you want. You don't even have to write anything. But Holly has written us something. So just a quick chat we had backwards and forwards. She said, these are the two that I want, Razorblade Smile and Cell. That's the two. Razorblade Smile I'm picking that one because I had to beg my mum to buy it off the internet back when there was dial-up on VHS, and it was such a bad film I actually loved it. Plus I used to love Eileen Daly and absolutely anything, and I can see as a young person, teenager, boy or girl, why you might like that. We probably have a few things to say about that. She also said it was very me at the time. Big goth wanting to be a vampire. Cringe.
See, I knew it. I fucking knew it. I called this when I was watching it with Sarah.
She said, for Cell is one I just love. Many people disagree, but I love the idea of it. I love the confusion and the panic, and I love the what the fuck is going on ending. I'm also a big John Cusack fan. I wish he would do more horror. So that's my two. Also, I apologise to both you and Gav for these, and for anyone who listens.
Oh, don't apologise. It's fine.
I messaged. Carry on. Sorry.
Well, I will. You know, as I've said before to the patrons, if I don't like a film, I will say it's not into it, and that is normally me. But that doesn't mean anything. Like, everybody has their own films they like. I still know what you did last summer. People don't like it. I still love American Werewolf in Paris. People don't like it. It's
I fucking love
fine.
Paris.
I still like Roland Emmerich Godzilla from '97.
Oh, dude, you're talking my language.
Again the other night. Elijah actually said to me, "Can you watch Godzilla?" And I was like, "Yeah, all right, cool. Watch one." He goes, and I was like, "Do you mean that?"
Gav, you know that could be one of our birthday picks for next year, so bear that in mind. One of us needs to pick that one at some point.
Actually, our 10th year anniversary episode this year. I know it's on Christmas. I was thinking we should probably you pick one of your ultimate films. I pick an ultimate film, not necessarily horror. But not like a bloody romantic comedy. But you could go if it's got death in it.
I can tell you what we're doing. You might not remember it. In fact, I know you won't remember what we're doing. But because it's our 10 year, yeah. We're doing National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
I know. That's great. Maybe the episode before we do a special though, where you pick something, I pick something, just to kind of get that in there.
Maybe.
Like a special birthday episode for both of us.
Yeah.
Don't know, it's a thought. Anyway.
But back to Holly. So, and then I messaged her last night. So thanks for your message, Holly. I messaged you last night, as you know, because you are Holly. And I said to her, to everybody else, I said, "Hey, Holly, we're recording your Patreon special tomorrow night." And she replied, "I hope yous don't hate me for Razorblade Smile, lol. I blame my teenage years. I swear I've grown up. Actually, that's a lie. I've matured in my horror taste. Actually, that's also a lie. Anyway, I hope you're well, and I'm looking forward to hearing it." And I said, "We're all well, thanks. Also, a very raunchy movie in Razorblade Smile. Looking forward to talking about it." And she replied with, "Haha, I know. It was sex education for goths back then for me. Haha."
You probably didn't need to tell her whole message communicata with you. She might be like, "That was secrets."
No, she doesn't mind.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, thank you, Holly.
I told her that I'd be reading it out. She hasn't given any secrets away there. It's all good.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I wasn't into it. There you go. I'd never heard of it. It's funny because it's a Jake West film. Friends on Facebook I am, but that doesn't mean anything. He's a Fright Fest patron, goes there quite a lot. He's actually got a documentary there this year, which is on Thursday. I'm off there on Thursday, by the way. I'm off to Fright Fest for the opening movie.
That time of year already.
I know, Suitable Flesh. Joe Lynch's Suitable Flesh. Anyway, what am I talking about?
The director, Jake West.
Indeed. Yes, and but I do like the film we covered
Yes, well, we'll get into that when we get into the discussion about the film. But before we
Okay,
do
all
all of
right.
that, here is a trailer for 1998's Razorblade Smile.
Razorblade Smile. That's me trying to. And welcome, Razorblade Smile to the stage.
We are Razorblade Smile!
And here's the trailer.
Okay, so Razorblade Smile from 1998.
Yes.
So bear with me, the synopsis is quite long on this one, but I'm going to read it out. A beautiful 19th century woman named Lilith Silver tries to intervene when her lover is challenged in a duel. Lilith shoots him, but the bullet has no effect on him and he returns fire, critically wounding her and then kills her lover. Later, he transforms her into a vampire against her will, and decades later, she's now working as a hired assassin, targeting members of an elite sect called the Illuminati, who are secretly taking over businesses in the city and the government. Inadvertently, her killing spree attracts the attention, and she becomes the target of a Scotland Yard cop named Detective Inspector Price. See what they did there? Vincent Price. Lilith finds out later that the head of the Illuminati is none other than Sir Sethan Blake, the vampire who turned her into the monster. Now she's out for revenge against Sir Sethan and his clan of vampiric assassins, all while dodging the nosy Detective Inspector Price.
A brief synopsis, that is not.
Yes.
What is going
My
on
synopsis is...
Yeah.
If a 15-year-old teenager, boy or girl,
Yes.
thought up a good PlayStation game in the 90s, but they were a big fan of manga and The Matrix and PVC, then basically my synopsis is hot PVC vampire goth is also an assassin with guns and a samurai sword, throw in some random sex scenes and some slow motion shooting, and Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt.
Yeah, it's a random one. It's used to be a horror magazine actually in England where you'd get a free DVD, actual free DVD in a case every.
Yes, remember that?
Yeah. Do you remember the name of it? I can't remember.
No, what was that? God, yeah, I do remember that. It was monthly.
And this was the sort of film you'd get with it.
Yeah.
It feels that, or like a kind of 90s very late night Channel 4 movie, possibly. Maybe.
Yeah. What's interesting about this film is it was made in, probably, I'm assuming, before 98. It was released in 98, so it maybe took a year or two to make, because the budget was around about £20,000. So we know what we're dealing with here. However, what's interesting is it really had its finger on the pulse of what was about to become the big thing, because around about just after this, you had The Matrix in 99, and then you had all your sort of underworld movies, your Resident Evil movies. So this was a very early precursor to all of that in some ways, because it's a lot of hot chick in PVC with samurai swords and guns being a total badass, saying all the sort of lines that you would expect in an action movie. Chucking that
Blade.
she's a vampire as well. Yeah, Blade. All of those. It's like, how do they? You know, I guess they were making this as things like Blade were just about to come out.
Yeah.
The director clearly and the writer clearly fan of the genre. I mean, it's a manga studios production, so they obviously got some of their budget from manga.
Possibly, or from there. It's not very big budget, but I was going to say, when you're saying that, as a filmmaker, more kudos to them for what they made with 20 grand.
Yeah, it's
I'm going to say, but you shouldn't merit a movie on that, because you just merit a movie on the movie. That's how it is. You have to.
Exactly. I mean,
But
movies can cost
with that knowledge,
millions and be awful.
With that knowledge, though, that is 20 grand. I feel a bit more like, oh, fair enough. It did, fucking fair play,
Yeah,
Pat on the back.
And in fact, when they were starting the process of making this, they had the majority of the cast. Like Eileen Daly plays the main vampire, Lilith Silver, but what's his name? Bloody hell! From Shaun of the Dead. I can't remember his name. Bill Nighy. He was in talks to be cast as the main old vampire in this, Sethan Blake. Pulled out at the last minute, and it went to Christopher Adamson, who is from Judge Dredd, the Stallone Judge Dredd, and has been in a bunch of other really big Hollywood films. So,
really?
Crazy that he was in this, but
okay.
Yeah, no, let's not beat around the bush. This is low budget, but like you said, kudos to the director. They've done well with the budget they had, and there's some fun to be had in it. But before we get into the nitty gritty of it, of the plot, let's talk about our suspicions about why Holly chose this, because we both, I think, probably have the same theory here.
I just assumed as a teenager, like a 13-year-old or whatever, possibly, seen like that, The Crow, things like that, and just been like, yeah, I'm fucking digging this shit. And discovering this movie one day down the fucking rental shop or whatever, and then just falling in love with it, because, that's just, it kind of goes with a certain time and place for certain people and certain things. I personally don't like the film. Not my cup of tea. It just sort of dragged a bit and stuff, and just, I don't know.
But I agree with you in that. I see the audience. There's an audience for it. Well, yeah, in '98, if you're like a 15-year-old boy or a girl,
a 46-year-old male like myself, it's not the audience probably.
But so my comparison for this, if I would discover this at the right age, this would definitely be like my comfort blanket, my guilty pleasure. And actually, there is a movie that I discovered at about the age of about 15, which is terribly low budget, but for some reason people really love it and people give it credit, and that's because the director's gone on to do amazing things. But I'm talking about Bad Taste. Bad Taste is a fucking awful film in some ways, really low budget.
This is amazing.
Yeah, exactly. But this is like Holly's Bad Taste, because this caught her at the right age. She also begged her mum to rent it for her.
I need a Bad Taste t-shirt.
And getting your mum, go on, mum, just rent it, please rent it. And finally, she caved in and she rented it. And then you're at the age where you're sexual awakening as well. So you've got all this stuff going on, and it's badass vampires, with swords. Plus, like you said, if you're into The Crow and all that kind of stuff, Holly said she was a goth, maybe still is a little bit of a goth thing as well. Then, yeah, I think this is going to catch you at the right age. And also, there wasn't an awful lot of movies out there for goths, really, other than The Crow, Dark City, and a couple of other stuff. You had to wait until Blade, The Matrix, and a few other movies like Resident Evil and the Underworld movies came out. So this will do, as a little stopgap. So I totally see why this is something she wanted us to cover. And this is a patron pick. This is up to the patron to tell us what to review. And if it's a movie that sits with them for whatever reason, I think it was Matthew that chose Hansel and Gretel, a movie I never thought we'd ever cover. We talked about that, and it's just like, if it's a movie that sits with you, and I just want to say this to our patrons, when it's your turn again or when it's your first time, don't be afraid to give us something that it means something to you. You know, I think it's really
Yeah.
important. That's the whole point in the patron pick. You know.
Yeah. And I'm always going to be totally honest. If I don't like it, I don't like it. If I really like it, I'll be like, fucking hell, I really like this. And, you know, it's just the way it is. I
Yeah.
enjoyed Cell. I didn't think I was going to enjoy Cell. So, there
Good,
we
I'm
go.
glad. Well, this movie, I'm not going to run through the entire plot because it's well written. I'll give it that. There is a plot. There's a great plot here. I think what works well. I think Eileen Daly is really watchable for many reasons
Boobs.
as the main vampire. Not just that though. I think that she oozes
I was just slipping a joke
sexuality.
there. I'm not
No,
really
no,
that.
but
But
you're
yes,
right.
yes, she
No, but-
is quite a sexy, attractive looking lady. So,
And she's very good with the dialogue. Some of it is a little bit ham-fisted, but she's very good with all the dialogue she's given. I like some of the nods, like Detective Inspector Price, obviously being a nod to Vincent Price. I do like the vampires are infiltrating the government.
what's going on with the fact that they could go out in the daylight and they're on photographs?
Yeah, so there is a very cool element to this.
Which is
you know
cool.
me,
I don't mind. You could do anything with vampires. You don't have. I like
Exactly.
actually or werewolves or any of these classics. If you actually go, fuck it, it's not silver bullets. It's bronze bullets.
it's carrots.
It's fucking carrot bullets. It's dildos. Only werewolves can be killed by dildos from a dildo
Hell,
shotgun.
imagine that. Wow. Stephen King's Dildo Bullet, starring
Watch out! What's in the
Corey Haim.
mouth? What's in the mouth?
He's fired off a big black mamba.
What's it going through?
The guy sort of turns back
There's a
into a
target.
human.
There's a
Dildo up his
target.
butt. I don't even know where we're going with that now. So that's one of the things that I think is cool in this is that there is a narration on and off throughout the movie by the main vampire. And she's sort of like, hi, this is my story. You think you know vampires. You don't know fuck all about vampires. Let me explain. So here and there throughout the movie, she gives you the rules, but the real rules in her world, where it's like, it's all nonsense. You can see us in the mirror. We do show up on photos. We can go out in sunlight. However, the sun does hurt our eyes, so we have to wear shades because we do have sensitive eyes. We drink blood. That's true. There's certain facts that are true about it. Crucifixes work a little bit, but not that much. And so there's this whole narration on and off where she's like, oh, by the way, and it's quite cool, quite funny, almost a bit lock stock at times, the way she's talking to the audience. There's definitely some influences from British gangster movies in this as well, I think it's safe to say. But the plot basically involves the fact that she is a bored vampire, a bit like Highlander. She's immortal. She's bored. She's been alive for about 100 years. Not a lot going on. What am I going to do? I'm going to become a hit woman, a hitman. I'm going to become an assassin.
Shag's her boss. She shouldn't shag your employer. It's always a problem.
No.
Lots of things can go wrong.
Well, he's not really her boss. He's the guy that brings her the jobs.
He's an
like, oh, there's
employer.
another hit.
He's employing her.
And he's like, I told you I would never have sex with you again. And she's like, yeah, but I'm
Yeah, but
a
look, I
vampire
can
and I
just
can
look at
hypnotise
you.
you. And the poor guy, Gav.
Basically, it's
He
like,
has to have sex with her.
basically, this woman is quite an attractive woman. She's got these big boobs, walks around in tight clothing. Men are going to look at her and go, cool, that's right, I wouldn't mind shagging that. But it's not like men don't need any help in that anyway. Men would just look at a wall with a hole and go, cool, I'd shag that. Because that's, I'm saying this loosely, not obviously all men, it's not all the same. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. They don't need help. But already, appealingly, visually, that looks great. It's like, oh, look at that coming down the old street. Way, But then she's just like, just in case there's a couple of you who don't want it, I look into my eyes.
I'm a vampire, I'll get you.
She basically, when she's like, when she gets up in the morning, she's like, I'm getting laid. I'm getting laid today. Every day she wakes up, I'm getting laid today. I'm getting laid today. never beat,
So there's definitely an original. There's some originality here. She's an assassin vampire. You know, that's cool. Living amongst humans. The other thing I like, which is again, it plays with the vampire.
Is that like Blade then?
Well, no, he kills vampires. He's half vampire and he's out to kill vampires. She's an assassin. If you pay her, she's a hitman. Yeah. But the other cool thing is, that plays with the vampire myth is she frequents a goth bar full of people who want to be vampires. So these are people that wear fake teeth and all think that they're vampires, and they discuss vampires, and that's all they do. Their life is vampires. And there are these people out there. Little do they know that Lilith, hanging out with them every day, every night, having drinks with them, she is actually a fucking vampire. So when they're all sort of discussing it, she sat there rolling her eyes thinking, oh God, you don't know I'm 110 years old.
She's a vampire, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I do like that as well.
She takes one back to her room at one point and shags her, and it's quite funny because she's like, oh, you know, you've got real fangs, and joking around and stuff, and obviously she has.
Yeah. There's again, a very sexy girl-on-girl scene there. You know,
I actually thought that scene was awful. I was like, how have I never ever been like turned on from two women having sex on the camera in front of me? And I'm just like, what is going on with this? Like these edits of these shots, it's like, what the fuck? So
well, before we get into the main plot of it, let's just walk through some of the bits and bobs that happen around the main plot line. So she does kill the odd person here and there. There's a photographer, a shithead photographer that turns up. He's been employed by the detective to come into the vampire bar and take photos of everybody, because the detective does think that there's such a thing as vampires. The guy shows him.
He's
the
right
film.
though, in turn.
He is right, totally.
Yeah.
And he shows the detective. The photographer shows the detective the photos, and everyone's up on there, and that's fine. But Lilith thinks I better take care of this loose end, so she goes back to the photographer's house with him for a private shoot, he thinks.
Yep.
And she ends up killing him, so sorry about that.
He's a bit of a twat when he comes into a club, though. Like, I did think, like, when you're a certain thing, because I used to, I lost my virginity to a goth, so there we go. So I used to hang around with, you know, goths, etc. Jared Fangs? No, I don't think so. Goths and things like that. So, but I would see them as they'd get ridiculed because we'd be skating, hanging out, and they'd be there as well, kind of getting ridiculed and stuff. Oh, look at you, get some sunshine or whatever, all that shit. And I thought it's a bit rude if this photographer comes in and he just blatantly there says, no, I'm taking photos for this thing where basically I'm depicting like people who think they're vampires. He's obviously going to do a bad write-up and say these bunch of dickheads in there. That's, you know, the way he says it.
Yeah,
and she's just like, oh, let's do it anyway. Oh, don't do a bad write-up. She's obviously going to do a bad write-up. Like, if you're a vampire that old, you've been around for so long, why are you not wise enough to just notice that this dickhead is going to do a bad write-up? But anyway, regardless of that, he's not even doing the write-up, is he? He's getting the snapshots for the
it's all for the detective. So the main plot line is that this detective is after Lilith. He doesn't know it's Lilith. He's after whoever this assassin is. It's going around killing people who are part of this Illuminati. They wear a ring with an eye on it. Yeah. And this Illuminati are actually a bunch of vampires that have infiltrated the government and other high powers society. And she's been hired to go off and kill them all.
She doesn't know that, though.
She doesn't know that, no. So we get a scene where the guy's in the bath. He's got a little flannel over his eyes. It is a little bit kill listy. But the funny thing is, the punchline is, and I'll cut to the chase really, is so at the very opening scene, 100 odd years ago, we see her become a vampire because her husband or her lover was killed in a pistol duel, and the guy that killed her husband shot her, but then bit her, brought her back to life. It turns out he was a vampire. The punchline is that the head of the Illuminati, the head of the police force in Scotland Yard, is that vampire, Sethan Blake. And it transpires that this whole movie, the last 60 years of her life, of her being an assassin, it's all been just a little bit of foreplay. Because at the very end, she's about to kill him because it turns out, oh, you're the one behind all of this, Sethan. You've driven all of this. You're the one that wants me dead. And he's like, yeah, but don't you want me dead? And they're about to kill each other. And then they kiss. And then they obviously go off to fuck. And it's basically been foreplay for about 50 or 60 years because they're so bored. They're immortal. They've got nothing else to do.
Role playing
for 50 years, Gav.
Role playing vampires.
No, they are vampires.
Yeah, but they're vampires doing role playing. Like they're a bored couple who want to spice up their sex life.
Exactly.
So they're going to bring in people
and
make this whole elaborate fucking thing and kill people in between.
So she's been eating loads of people around London. He's been getting loads of people killed. She's been fucking away through half of the goth bar. And yeah, it's all because they wanted a bit of a spark back in their relationship, which they got at the very end.
Yeah, I did think that was a bit weird.
But again, I didn't see it coming. So I'm going to, that's a little tick. That's a tick for me because I didn't see it coming. So what I liked about this, let's talk about what we didn't like, and then let's talk about what we did like. Because I know we normally go from beginning to end, but the plot is, we kind of covered it really. There's not an awful lot to say, and this is no disrespect to the movie or to Holly. It's that kind of a movie really where there isn't an awful lot to say. It's a bit of a cheaper film, but let's talk about first of all what we didn't like, and then let's talk about what we did like. So Gav, is there anything that stands out that you didn't really like about this, or what's like the worst thing about it, for example?
No, of course, no.
But be honest as well.
The sound effects. There was a gun battle, and it looked like a very poor sort of Robert Rodriguez gun battle with men in suits and stuff.
Is that the one on the rockets?
Yeah, it was like a El Mariachi on crack or something. The sound effects are actually comical though, and it was a bit like, that's a bit of a shame really, because that could have been very easy changed, or whatever,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just not my sort of film. It went on a little bit too long. I think it just needed tightening. I reckon, I don't know. At the same time, 20 grand, I'm pretty impressed actually now. I didn't realise this. That does impress me a bit. What? How about yourself?
So I think, I agree. Maybe it dragged on a little bit. I think some of the actors in it weren't great, particularly the henchmen. All the henchmen were awful. They're all wannabe Vinnie Jones. Obviously Lock, Stock had not come out not long before this, and they were all wannabe Vinnie Joneses. And I'd like to have seen some better gore, some better practical effects. It wasn't as good as I'd have liked. And I think it was just, they just needed more money, really. I think, yes, it is impressive what they did for 20k, but you can only do so much. And I think that's my biggest thing, really, is it is very low budget, and it does unfortunately show. However, things I did like about it, I did love Eileen Daly in it. I think she's brilliant in it. I really liked the story. I thought it was original. Like I've said, vampire assassin. I liked the elements that she's going and drinking with people who want to be vampires, not knowing that she secretly is a vampire. I think that's really cool and very original. I thought she was really watchable and incredibly sexy, and I loved the twist at the end. As silly as it sounds, it kind of worked for me. I just thought, well, of course this is all just a bit of foreplay over the last 50 years. Of course. So there are things I liked about it. Honestly, there are.
I didn't like. I am going to get on to stuff I did like.
Yeah.
I didn't like the fact that the PC did PCP. I actually started calling him PCP.
Nice.
But then on the next scene, didn't look strung out whatsoever. Looked absolutely normal, and I was like, that's such a shame. I was waiting for him to turn up and be like, ah.
So for the listeners, there is a moment where the detective is. Goes to stake.
Maybe they cut it out.
He tries to stake Lilith, and she ends up staking him with his own wooden stake. And you think he's going to die of his wounds, but he manages to not die of it. But he's got a great gaping wound in his stomach. So in order to go off and fight the final battle, he gets some PCP, which has been confiscated from an earlier crime scene. Does a bunch of PCP, but nothing really comes of it. That would have been awesome to see a cop on PCP just being like, Rah! Imagine that.
That's what I was hoping for, and I like to call him PCPCP. I thought that was all right as well.
Is there ever been a film where Nicolas Cage does a bunch of coke or PCP and then goes into battle?
Mandy.
Yes, of course.
Mandy's incredible. There's a scene that I did like where they've pulled her in to interrogate her, and one of the detectives is not as like believing or really like what you're saying to me, and the other one's like, she's a vampire. He doesn't say it just yet. He's just like pulling her in for whatever reason, then just springs on her boat. I think you're a vampire, and she's obviously going, yeah, whatever. And when he looks away, she pulls her fangs out to show him.
Love that bit.
This scene was actually fairly well crafted. It was the only scene in the whole film which maybe like was more elevated than the others because of some tension, and so then it, he goes off, grabs some steaks and goes towards the attacker. So the other detective has to come in, and then it's just like pulls him out, and then comes back and says, "I'm so sorry, you're free to go." And she's like, "Yeah, fuck's sake, you can't just bring people in like this. I could sue you or whatever." Blah blah blah, back and forth. That was all right. That wasn't a bad episode scene. It was quite tight in a way, with a little bit of tension. So I quite enjoyed that.
I think she's great in it, and I think she's definitely the best thing in the film. And with better budget and tighter editing, and maybe even a slightly better script, and surround her with better actors, she'd be brilliant in if this was a bigger budget film. But yeah, I'm not gonna. I couldn't really recommend this. I wouldn't say this is like an amazing film, but there's definitely bits in it I liked, and I would say if you just want to check out a low budget vampire film, especially if you were a goth, if you want to be reminded of what it was like when you were a 15-year-old goth, this is going to call to you if you watch it. I was never a goth, see, so that's another thing where I love The Crow. I love Blade and Dark City. I love those goth elements, but I was never a goth, so maybe it doesn't appeal to me as much as it would someone like Holly. I don't know, but I can't really recommend it. However, I'm not going to fully slate the film and say it's awful. There's definitely some good elements to it. They did well with the budget.
I like the kind of found footage camcorder tape thing going on, which was the envelope with the tape on. She watches the VHS tape, and it's the man sort of saying they've got the money. It's only because I like found footage, and it seemed a bit more modern because, funny enough, because we know found footage to look like that, they all look the same. It kind of pulled that out of the film for a moment. What I liked actually, it's very much like Annihilation as well. So that movie's really good. I love Annihilation. Whereas they find a camcorder tape of the woman's boyfriend. Have you seen Annihilation?
Yeah, I have. And funny enough, there's an episode of Black Mirror, one of my favourite episodes from season 6, which involves some VHS tapes of torture, and that episode blew me away as well. It was done very well.
I liked it in this one. I thought the tape thing was okay.
Well, what I like about this film ultimately, where it gets a big tick from me is because of its age, because of its influences. Those influences, when I'm watching this, remind me of where we were at in the UK in sort of 97, 98, where we were grasping at new things, we were grasping at vampires. There's elements even of British horror flicks, British gangster flicks in this, but there's also some sort of Tarantino-y style bits in this. You can really see what the director was being influenced by, and for that reason alone, I like this as a sort of reminder, like a trip down memory lane of where cinema was at around about this time. Does that make sense?
And I do like Jake West's what's it called? Dog.
Yes. Well, we should mention Jake West actually. So the director Jake West directed Doghouse, which we've reviewed.
Doghouse, yeah. I don't mind that, except there's no ending. It's really weird.
It ends in a shopping trolley, but we reviewed it. We loved it. We both loved that one. He's also done Evil Aliens, and he did a segment in the ABCs of Death as well. I've never seen Evil Aliens. but it used to be on the Horror Channel quite a lot. I just never got around to watching it. But yeah, so Jake West has done, he's done stuff. And we've all got to start somewhere, I suppose. But yeah, that's all I've really got to say on this. Like I said, I couldn't 100% really recommend this to you, but the good things I'll leave you with are, it is a good snapshot of where we're at, of where cinema was at this time in the 90s. And it's all about Eileen Daly.
Yes, she was quite an attractive lady to watch. I can't recommend this, I'm afraid. Don't know. Yeah, I think what Dan said, really, if you're into that sort of thing, or you want a feel of that sort of era, then yeah, check it out. But yeah, for kudos to 20 grand for making it, though. That's pretty cool.
Word. Okay, well, that's Razorblade Smile. I've got Mr. Bill Murray's just walked in.
All right, Bill.
Why are you wearing the back half of a pantomime horse outfit?
And where's the front?
Where is the front?
And who's in the front? Is it Dan Aykroyd?
Oh, hang on. He's saying it's something to do with animals. All will be revealed when we get into World of the Strange.
Oh, okay. Should we get into World of the Strange?
Yeah, but you're just being the back end of a donkey or a horse. Because that's the bit that's got the penis attached, right? Okay, great. Nice one, Bill. Okay, well, let's get into some World of the Strange and see what on earth's going on with this animal stuff.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hi, welcome back to World of the Strange.
Strange World. Thank you, Bill Murray, for that intro. I understand why he's wearing the back end of a pantomime horse now, because I have got 3 animal-related stories here. Animals attack, Gav. Although, Bill, you could have worn anything. You could have worn a gorilla outfit. You could have worn anything, and that's what you've chosen to wear. But that's up to you. You are Bill Murray.
They don't normally actually have a penis attached to them, the pantomime horses, do they?
Well, I think he's glued that on. That's just a big old dildo, isn't it? Look at it.
It's terrible.
It's awful.
It's flopping in the wind like that.
In the wind. Well, there's 3 animals here. One of them you would expect to attack, but the other 2 I don't think you'll be expecting. So I'll start off with the shark, shall I?
All right.
Shark attacks. So here's the headline. A brother dives into the water and fights off a 9-foot-long shark to free his sister from its teeth.
Oh, nice. Was it a great white?
It was a great white in Florida.
So what did he do?
A 17-year-old girl suffered a shark attack on a Florida beach, but is alive today thanks to her brother's quick actions.
Okay.
She was just in the water, it's about 5 foot deep, in just off Keaton Beach, when a shark bit her. And as we know, when they bite, Gav, they don't let go.
No.
They're hungry.
No.
Hungry boys. She said, the next thing I knew, something latched onto my leg. And I was like, well, this doesn't seem right. Then I looked down, and it was a great big shark.
That's a bit scary. But I don't know. Your mind might not actually kind of realise really at the time. You'd probably go, it's a bad thing, but I don't know if you'd really take it all in at that moment. You'd probably go into shock later on,
Now, not to say anything about people from Florida, but there is like a bit of a stereotype about people from Florida. So I don't know if any of our listeners are from Florida, but they're pretty hardcore. They don't mess about. Nothing.
I think that's fairly known around the world.
Nothing phases them. So the next comment is, she says, I remembered watching an Animal Planet episode that said you were supposed to punch a shark in the nose. So I thought, I'll just punch this shark. However, I couldn't lean around enough to punch it in the nose, and it bit me further as I did that. So her first instinct was, I better punch this shark, actually, because I read that.
I was probably getting a better grip as well.
So she tried to pull it off her leg with her bare hands, but obviously, again, it's a great white shark. It's 9 foot tall. Not tall. It's not tall.
It's
Nice
just
and long.
walking along.
Walking along like, right, I'm a shark.
That'd be scary, though, wouldn't it?
Fucking hell.
Big massive Cockney shark coming at you.
In Florida.
Even scarier.
You're in Florida going, man, I love Florida. And then you, all right, geezers, I've come to fucking eat you all. Anyway, her brother, Rhett, said he saw some blood in the water and thought, something's going on there. I better jump in and help her. Could have been anything. It was a shark. That's how much he loves his sister.
Oh, bless.
So he said he saw her bob back up and he saw blood flying out the water. Then he saw the shark attached to her leg and he thought, damn it, I've got to go in. So he swam over. He grabbed her. He pushed the shark. He punched the shark. The shark kept coming at him and sort of hitting into him with its head, all the while holding on to his sister. So he managed to punch the shark enough times that it started to let her go. He pulled his sister out of the shark's mouth,
Right.
kicked the shark a couple of times for good measure. This guy is pretty hardcore. And then swam backwards, taking his sister with him. The shark didn't come after him. I'm not surprised. It was probably afraid. Pulled her up on the boat and called another boat over nearby where they made a tourniquet out of boat rope. And yeah, she's alive today to tell the tale. She has lost part of her leg, though, the bottom half of her leg, but it's not enough that she can't have a prosthetic and potentially still walk around on it. So thank God for her brother, because if it had been a different bite, she would have lost too much blood and died. So yeah, that's the first. I feel like the headline should have been "Florida Man Punches Shark." That
Yeah.
would have been a better headline.
Yeah.
But yeah, there we go. So there's your first animal attack. What do we think of that one, Bill? You're nodding away at that one, Gav.
I think that's very brave of the young lad, and well done him for jumping in.
17 years old as well, mind. When I was 17, I was afraid to sort of, I don't know.
My kids would defend each of them. They have before done defence, not to sharks though.
I was going to say Cockney sharks.
No Cockney sharks in Florida.
Fucking hell, here I come. Well, on to the next story. So I said to you that the first one was going to be, obvious. The second animal attack, not so obvious.
Rabbit.
Although
Gerbil.
it is known, if you know enough about animals, you know that this is one of the biggest killers
Squirrel.
on the planet.
Rat.
Hippo.
That doesn't surprise me though. Hippo. Have you seen the mouth and jaws of a hippo?
Let me tell you the
That
headline.
shit is like some scary prehistoric stuff almost.
Here's the headline.
What do they do? What do they do?
Here's the headline. Hippo swallows a 2-year-old boy whole in Uganda and then vomits him back up.
Oh, what happened to the kid?
He's all right.
Wow.
I knew you'd like this one.
Has he got a story for the party?
Tell him what happened when you were 2. Oh, yeah. One of my first memories, actually, is being inside a hippo.
I wonder if he
Fucking hell.
will ever have, like, some sort of flashback.
Oh, God.
When he's in a dark, wet place.
Ooh. So the toddler was playing near his home on the shores of a lake in Katwe Kabatoro, which is a town where he lived in Uganda, when the hungry hippo grabbed him with his huge jaws.
Do you think it did it like that as well? And pulled him in.
In a miracle, the 2-year-old boy survived after being gulped down by the rogue hippopotamus. The hippo spit the toddler back out after an onlooker started throwing stones at the animal, which made it vomit.
Yeah.
I don't think it was probably the stones. I think it's probably more likely that it was a 2-year-old boy, which is, and my children are 2. They're quite big. Trying to swallow that, they probably realised, oh, I can't actually swallow this. I'm going to have to be sick.
Yeah. How shocking for the parents. Or if you're like the babysitter.
Yeah, you take your eyes off him for one moment and a hippo's come along and swallowed him whole.
And what is the purpose of hippos? I know there's no real purpose for a lot of animals, really, but like elephants are kind of cool. They seem all right. Like
quote of the episode so far. What is the point in a hippo?
But what is the point in a hippo? They kind of just hang out in the mud. They don't really reveal themselves until they want to eat a 2-year-old.
So hippopotamus is, I believe, Latin for river horse. But I couldn't tell you what the point in the hippo is.
It's definitely not a river horse, though, is it?
But they can run really fast. They're really, really fast, which is why they're one of the biggest killers on the planet.
Hippo racing.
Yep.
I want to see that now.
Okay.
Rhinos, I don't know, they've got the spikes, haven't they?
Spikes?
The horns.
It's not a triceratops.
Rhinos have got the horns there, and they've got... there's no real purpose there, but they've got their place in the safari.
What's their place?
Just there in the safari, it's there. They've got elephants, lions, and then you got the rhinos. They've got their place. That horn...
Yeah, but that horn, they get in trouble because the poachers want that horn, don't they? The ivory poachers.
Yeah, but if you had that running towards you, that thing about to, like, penetrate you, that would be just bad.
Well, it depends.
How scary that'd be? That's got its place. But a hippo, and that is a scary animal too. But what's going on with that?
I don't know. That's maybe a subject for another time. But let's get into the story of this one. The toddler was playing near his home on the shores of a lake in December when the hungry hippo grabbed him with its huge jaws. Before the animal could swallow him whole, bystander began throwing rocks at it. This caused it to vomit the boy back up. So the police identified the toddler as Eager Paul and said the animal had grabbed him by the head.
Oh, God.
And then swallowed him down whole. They said the boy has sustained injuries on one of his hands. That's all. And was sent to the hospital for further treatment. The victim was immediately rushed to treatment at a clinic for the injury on his hand. Later went to hospital for further treatment, but he's now fully recovered and been discharged. And he had to have a vaccine for rabies.
Not fucking surprised.
Because this hippo apparently might have had rabies. So a rabid hippo.
Yeah, that's probably why, it's probably not common, as you've brought up in the story, is, Kate gave you these, didn't she?
Sorry, yes, I should say Kate Pollock. Go and check out Kate Pollock's show.
Thank you for these, Kate. I like animal ones. I know there's more. I just thought...
she gave us the shark and the hippo, but she didn't give me the third one. No. But yeah, thank you to Kate so much. Very, very well done, Gav, for that credit.
But yeah, fucking hell. That's gnarly, isn't it?
Eternal Darkness of the Not So Spotless Mind is her show that she does. It's very good. Go listen to it.
Have you ever sat on the Hungry Hippo, the Hungry Hippo game? Have you ever done the sit-on ones?
No, that sounds awesome.
They're amazing. When you come down my way, I'll take you to an arcade where you can actually sit on it and do it like that, and it's a massive head.
Well, the last part of this one is hippos, despite being herbivores, which as we know means vegetarian, can be extremely aggressive when threatened or when they feel threatened. They've been observed charging and attacking boats and canoes, and a few months ago, 3 lions were attempting to cross a river in Botswana where an angry hippo decided that's lunch and killed them all.
Whoa!
Lions?
I take it all back. Hippo's got a place.
There's lots of footage on YouTube of incidents. According to AZ Animals, there are around 500 deaths a year of humans being killed by hippos in Africa. So like I said, they are one of the biggest killers on the planet out of most animals. Obviously, mosquitoes kill a lot of humans because of malaria, but polar bears are up there, and hippopotamuses, just the sheer amount. They are classed as one of the world's deadliest animals. So that is their place, Gav. When the creator was making hippos and his helper went, what the fuck's this? Big fat sort of horse, but not giant mouth. What's it going to do? And the creator just says, well, I'm going to make it one of the deadliest animals on the planet.
Hippopotamus.
Hippopotamus. So there we go. We've gone from sharks
to hippos. Who would win, shark or hippo?
Hippo.
Yeah, that jaw's big.
I reckon a hippo would win.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. Did you say the leopards they killed? Leopards or tigers?
Lions.
Fucking
lions.
Lions are bad boys, aren't they?
Yeah, I know. King of the jungle. No match for a hippo. The last animal, Gav, in my trilogy of animal attacks. Mm-hmm. Here's the headline. You ready for the headline?
Go.
I felt a bite on my butt.
So?
Then I realised the otters were working together against me.
Otters? Was he dangerously close to a nest or their dam?
It's a lady, a woman, in California. She's been attacked by a group of otters while swimming in a river, which needed her to be rushed to hospital for treatment.
Shit. Well, they weren't thinking dinner though, were they? They were probably attacking because she was close to like some babies or something.
Yeah, probably. The attack occurred in Feather River. Lovely name, Feather River. With 2 river otters decided to attack her bottom.
Maybe they're sexy otters.
Maybe they're like, I'll take a bite out of that.
Maybe like carry-on otters.
She says, I felt a bite on my bottom. I looked round. I thought, have I sat on a sharp rock? Then I realised there was an otter, and then 2. They continued attacking her, biting her all over her legs, her bottom, and then a 3rd one popped up in front of me. So they're like velociraptors.
Oh my God, you're just in the water going, get off me, and one just appears in front of you.
She said...
Slowly just comes up with his eyes just out of the water and staring at you.
She said I was very disorientated because I was half under the water trying to maintain my breathing, but I was being savaged by these 2 otters when the 3rd one appeared, and I couldn't understand what I was looking at because otters are such cute furry little creatures. Something just didn't add up to me.
What do you reckon the mouth span is? Like 1.5 inches?
I don't know, but they've got really sharp teeth because they bite through wood, don't they?
Fuck yeah. Those teeth would be ready.
They're not beavers, but they've got very sharp teeth.
Those teeth are ready for flesh. The evolution of them is to take over human.
She said it seemed planned and orchestrated.
See? They're fucking going to take over.
And they didn't stop biting me until I clawed my way out of the water. Once I got onto the riverbank, they all stared at me. And then swam back off to wherever they'd come from.
We need to train hippopotamuses to come and take them out. They're going to take over the world.
River otters can grow up to 4 feet long, with a 1/3 of their body length being made up of their strong muscular tail, which they can use to knock you over. Because they've got those big paddle tails, haven't they?
To spin round like a low-flying, sort of low 360 kick. As you go down and just nibble at your face.
She said they looked exactly as you would expect. They were really cute. They weren't baring their teeth or anything until they attack. They seemed so organised. It was like they were working together.
In that case, I actually do think they were thinking food. I don't know. It's a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't need that many to do like that, especially one coming up. It's like how they could get rid of her. The plan is to go circle her, unless it's to take her down.
Well, I think you might have a good theory here because apparently there was an attack 2 days before, 100 miles away, where 3 otters attacked another person, leaving them with 15 bites on their legs.
I wonder if they got a rabies check, or there's like some fucking human blood's been tasted.
Where otters?
Where otters? There otter. Where otter? There otter.
It's very rare for them to attack humans, but there have been 2 in quick succession. Basically, don't go near otters. Don't go and stroke them. They're not cute. You know, they look cute, but they will defend themselves, and they will fuck you up.
Shit.
So there we go, guys. Thanks very much again to Kate for the shark and the hippo, and I came up with the otter one all on my own.
Thanks, Kate.
Found that in the news.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, pretty crazy stuff there. Who would you want to fight out of all of those? A shark, 3 otters, or a hippo?
Well, I can't. All of them.
And whoever you fight, The other ones are helping you.
Can you have water apparatus so you can breathe?
Yes. So whichever one you are fighting against, the other two will help you.
Wow. Well,
So if you're-
that's kind of... All right. Easy.
You're going to fight the otters and
I'm
you're going to have a
otters
shark and a
and
hippo.
having a shark and hippo on my side, back and forth with me. Like, literally, they're like my nuts. Either side.
I'm picturing you like John. You know Halle Berry in John Wick.
Okay,
She's
yeah.
got the dogs. I'm picturing you running along, and you've got a shark like on a skateboard,
Yeah.
and then you've got the hippo next to you. You're like, get him.
My first skateboard, I can't find it. I just hope I can find it one day. It was called the Land Shark,
Hell yeah!
and it's a shark on a skateboard. That's the picture with one of those
There we go.
bubble tail bubbles, for stopping. I'm dying to find one of them boards again. But yeah, that's so funny you say that.
There we go. Well, Bill, what do you think? Do you have anything you wanted to add to that? Oh, I can see it's fallen off. His dildo's fallen off, Gav.
I wonder what that sound was.
All right. Well, I think that's everything from World of the Strange.
But doing. Right, let's get out of here.
Bill, take us out.
That's all the time we've got for this week on World of the Strange. Next week, though, gimme Ira. Hairless pets. Weird.
Do not withhold your mercy from us, O Lord. May your love and your truth protect us. For here lies the dead, dust of the earth.
Hi, Dad.
Hey, buddy.
Are you coming home?
Yeah, soon. I gotta go right now.
They're acting like a flock of birds. Like, what do you guys think that is?
They may be the next stage in human evolution. What's happening now is more than temporary anarchy. I think it's the start of a war.
No, we're gonna survive this. People are gonna have to put aside their sensibilities. If they can't, they're gonna die.
I want to see my son.
I want to wipe them out.
Ellen? You okay?
Good always conquers evil. I believe that.
Cell from 2016, when a mysterious cell phone signal causes apocalyptic chaos. An artist is determined to reunite with his young son in New England because he's a dick of a father.
That bit wasn't in there. Gav just added it.
Yeah.
So I read this back when it came out in 2006. I haven't quite got my finger on the pulse of what's up and new with books, but occasionally I do read new books. And somebody read this the year it came out and said to me, "You're going to like this so much if you're a Stephen King fan. It's a Stephen King zombie book." I read it. I absolutely loved it. I devoured it. It was great, if you pardon the pun. And it's not often I do that, with books. I used to love reading, but when I had time. So I was so excited when I heard that they were going to be making a movie of this, and especially when, for a while, Eli Roth was attached, and I was thinking, oh, this could be great. However, there was some weird stuff about it, because it was actually, they finished shooting it in 2014.
He's just been making Thanksgiving.
Yes, I know. That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'm glad he's actually doing some horror again.
This was completed in 2014. and it sat there, and it sat there, and it sat there, and we were thinking, is this film ever going to come out? There was no trailers, there was nothing going on about it. It was scheduled to be shown at Fright Fest in London, and then was just removed from the schedule for no reason. No reason was given, and it was replaced by a film called Pandemic. What was going on? No one knew. Even being interviewed, John Cusack said, me and Stephen King know fuck all about what's going on with this. Samuel L. Jackson has no idea. We made the movie 2 years ago. I've no idea why they're sitting on it. And we still, to this day, don't really know why it took so long for it to be released. So it was released in 2016. Boom. Even though it was made a couple of years before. And that does happen sometimes. You know, sometimes films are made and they get sat on for a while. I'm wondering if it was to do with them thinking, how do we market this? Because it's a horror, it's Stephen King, but it's also not, but it's also a bit weird. How do we market this? Who's going to go and see this?
It's a strange one because they're both bankable stars.
Yeah, John Cusack has been in some Stephen King movies.
Well, they've both held movies down alone, and that's easily, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a strange one really, isn't it?
If you slap Stephen King across a movie poster, or if you put John Cusack or especially Samuel L. Jackson on a movie poster, so it's very odd that it took so long for it to come out. I can't tell you really what it was. There's not really any information out there that says why it took so long. It just took a long time. But there we go. Now, the last thing I'll say is the book obviously is better than the film, but only in that. In a book, as is always the case, you can go into a lot more detail and be a lot more crazier, you know, and there's a lot more crazier stuff in the book. Like in the book, they could levitate and almost fly, the sort of the infected. But in a book, that kind of works. That wouldn't have worked on the screen. I don't think it would have looked weird and silly. So I'm glad in some ways that they did what they did with the film. So that's so I liked it when it came out, and this is probably the third time I've watched it, and I still like it. I always love a apocalyptic survival, you know, where people are traveling from one end of the country to the other, and they're having to come across all these weird things that are happening, infected or whatever you want to call them. That's my take on it. You, Gavin, vagina hero that you are, you'd never seen this before.
No, I had started, but I turned it off for some reason. I'm not sure why. Maybe just didn't. Maybe it was like, I don't know.
You said to me you thought it was too hectic, too much, and you weren't in the mood for it because of the airport scene at the very beginning.
I think I just wasn't in the mood for it. I've not developed this sense of, in this age now, where I've just realised some days I'm just not in the mood, and actually my mood can quite often, read the movie in a certain way.
Yeah.
I think that was then. But I didn't mind this the other day. The ending's fucking a load of shit. The ending's frustrating as hell. There is no ending sort of thing, really. It's just, we get to it. But, I didn't mind it. It seems to be, though, a case of 3 people all the time walking, and it's always Sam Jackson and John Cusack and someone else. Then they die. Then there's John Cusack, Sam Jackson, and another person, and that person dies, and this just keeps repeating. I was like, what is going on with this?
You don't want to be hanging out with these two, do you?
But it's just like, why can't we change this formula? It's a little bit. Could we get maybe another character so there's 4 at once? I don't know. You know, it's a bit weird.
A couple of things from the book, as well as the levitating. In the book, not that it matters, but in the book, the races were reversed. So Samuel L. Jackson's character was white and John Cusack's was black. And in the book as well, Samuel L. Jackson's character is actually gay. But he did say, disappointingly, I'll never kiss a man on screen, which is fine. But also I felt like that was there's more to that comment he made when he signed on. But anyway, that's by the by. I think it's got great actors in it. Obviously, it's got those 2 in it, but I do like the girl that plays Alice as well. I think she's good. And we've got Stacey Keach in this, which we'll get to, which is always good to see.
Yeah.
We love a bit of Stacey Keach. Yeah, so should we get into it? Should we get into the zombie infectedness of it?
Infected, away, go.
It plays like a Black Mirror episode in some ways, which is funny that we've been talking about that on this show.
Technology and horror, yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool idea. A cell phone signal goes out. Essentially, anyone on the phone at the time is instantly transformed into a rage-fueled, murderous, vicious.
It's this opening's got a kind of World War Z kind of wideness to it because it being an airport.
Yeah, it feels quite epic. I think what they do is they shoot the opening scene, and then it cuts, and it becomes much more sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? The rest of the movie is shot in a bit more intimate style. Does that make sense?
Yeah, close
even though they're out and about walking.
Yeah, it's tighter.
It's tighter, yeah. Whereas this opening scene, you're right, it's much bigger, grander. Yeah, I see what you mean about the World War Z thing.
Yeah, just because when it happens, and obviously these are kind of the 28 days later type zombies. They're very much on that, and they look fine. They actually look fine as zombies. They did their job. And John Cusack's there, hanging out
with his Nicolas Cage hair,
and his phone dies on him while he's chatting to his kid and that. So he rings on a payphone, and he just talks to his wife about stuff. And she's like, I thought it was his ex-wife because the way that he's just ringing to talk to his kid and stuff. And she says, yeah, you haven't been home for a year.
Well, she is his ex-wife, really. I mean, they've been broken up for. I mean, he's been. So he is a graphic novelist. He draws and writes graphic novels, and he's semi-famous.
At one point says to him, "I love you," or he says to, "I love you."
Yeah, so they're definitely going through something. I feel like they're.
I don't think that's what I thought. Originally, I was like, "Oh, obviously, it's just for the kid," but I don't think it is.
He's been on the road a long time and promoting all this work.
Yeah, he's been a right dick.
Yeah, he hasn't really been home for a long time, a year or so. Hasn't seen his son. He speaks to him on the phone, but he's out there trying to make his money.
Yeah, you wouldn't go away for not see your kid grow up for one whole year.
Well, it's a tale of redemption then, isn't it? Because once the zombie outbreak occurs, he then thinks, fuck, what is important to me in life? My wife and my kid. So I now am going to trek from one end of the country to the other.
I love the fact it needs a zombie outbreak for him to realise this.
Yeah. It's like Shaun of the Dead. He never realised the lovely girlfriend that he had until there was a zombie outbreak. Then he thought, fuck, I better fight for Liz, hadn't I? I better go and look at her. Yeah. So sometimes, Gav, we all need a zombie outbreak to let us know what's good in life.
I delve into these thoughts and I appreciate what there is. I'm there. I've been there for a while. And all of a sudden, the mobile phone signal starts to fuck people up around him, and they all start to just like break dance. They all start electro, like body popping
everywhere.
Yeah, put some hip hop on the soundtrack and it goes. Be well good.
I wonder if that would work. Rock the planet, rock the planet, rock the planet, rock. Yeah. But it's pretty cool. We've not seen this before. We've seen zombies or infected that are rage fueled. But we've not seen it through technology, and that leads to them saying, I wonder if it's a terrorist attack and things like that, because it's done through a phone signal. We don't ever know why it's happened,
It makes sense, yeah.
And it's cool because it means that telephones are immediately out of the equation, because if you pick up a mobile phone, the signal will immediately affect you. So it's not just the people that were on the phone at the time the signal went out. The signal was still out there, and if you ever pick up a phone, you're going to be fucked. It kind of eliminates mobile phones from the plot, which is great.
Rich, face it, it'd fuck everyone up, wouldn't it? Especially the old teenagers that have never not had a phone.
Yeah. I don't even know what that would be like. I got my first phone when I was 22, 23.
I would be fine if all of a sudden there was no phone. I'd be like, okay, no phone.
I mean, I'd miss speaking to people.
Go around our house.
Yeah, but some people like you live a long way away.
Well, we're just travelling. I'll send you a letter.
Oh, brilliant.
Look, you know I'm coming.
I'll be with you in a week.
Well, no, at least for if you're going first class, and I could send you a letter on Monday. You'd get it probably.
We don't get a post in Bristol anymore. The Royal Mail is so bad that we just don't get a post anymore.
If there's no phones, they're going to do that. Okay, so let's say, for example, so you'd get it probably Tuesday. You could, or it might be Wednesday actually, because it's Bristol. It's a little further. Reply by Friday. I know if you can meet up, and if you go no. No, like it's
I'm busy
a
this
WhatsApp.
weekend.
I'll go. All right, I'll send them a message. How about that date? In 5 days' time, you'll come back and say, "Nah, that one." 5 days' time. So at least 6 weeks, we should at least have a date planned.
Brilliant. Well, anyway, mobile phones are no longer in the equation, and it's a really cool I always love the outbreak scenes, and it's really cool for me. It's quite violent.
Lloyd Kaufman from Troma cameo.
Yeah, does his usual face of like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Wow, it's the Toxic Crusader. He's got a snow globe that he's bought for his son, John Cusack, which comes in handy as a weapon to bludgeon people to death.
He just jumps on with no delay, and it doesn't freak him out in the slightest.
Because he is a graphic novelist, and he kind of draws on very dark things. But he also has been dreaming about this, hasn't he? Later on, we find out he's been dreaming about this.
Well, but not that any of it makes any sense, but yeah.
Yeah, Stephen King. Him and Samuel L. Jackson, when he meets him later, they're both just like, you know what? If this is us having to fight a bunch of zombies, we'll fucking do it. And they just take on the violence, don't they?
I always did it's a buddy cop, black and white buddy cop scenario going on. And I don't know, I was quite happy because I originally thought Samuel Jackson was probably going to be bumped off early on. I don't know why, but I was quite happy to see he was not.
Yeah. So let's very quickly whiz through this zombie outbreak in the hotel, in the airport, sorry. A police dog is eaten by his owner. Nice. A chef comes out with a big knife and starts stabbing people. Brilliant. John Cusack defends himself with his portfolio of work.
It's kind of Dawn of the Dead as well, like a remake.
Yes, it is a bit like that as well.
That sort of vibe.
Great remake, that is a great remake. Eventually he escapes because he looks up in the sky and 2 planes crash into each other and then start hurtling towards the airport. So he legs it down into the underground where the trains are, just as the explosion takes out the majority of the airport. This is where he finds a bunch of survivors on an underground train. And they're all sort of saying, what can we do? Can we escape? Can we get this train running? Up pops Tom, played by Samuel L. Jackson. He says, I can drive the train because that's my job. And some of the people are like, well, we don't really think we should go, from what we hear, Boston is on fire. We don't think we should go back up there. And he says, well, it's up to you. I'm going to walk the tunnels. And I'll tell you why. Because in 24 hours, this tunnel will be underwater because there's nobody, if there really is all that trouble going on, there's no one to manually pump the water out. And these tunnels will flood in the next 24 hours. So I'm going to go walk in the tunnels. John Cusack says, sounds like a great idea. I'll come with you. Anybody want to join us?
No, you get this one guy who says, I don't think that's a good idea. And he's like, and John Cusack's like, fine, don't come. It's literally like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't know who you are. Why do I have any allegiance to you? I literally don't care.
That's what I like about this. It's a different take on it. It's a more sort of selfish viewpoint of, I'm going to go here. If you don't want to come with me, you just stay here and die. It's up to you.
The thing is with this, there isn't actually anyone you really want to root for. John Cusack comes across as a dick that hasn't been owned for a long time. He doesn't come across as he doesn't do anything to make us go, he's a great character. I don't think they want to. I guess it's in Stephen King's right. I don't know. You've read the book, but both of them are. Who's our winner?
Excuse me. I think for me, Samuel L. Jackson is my sort of almost hero because
your protagonist.
He's got like a dark past potentially, but
he
just seems like
equal fitted, haven't they? So it's really weird
they're basically made to meet each other, because they even say at one point, "I'm so glad I met you."
Do you know what this made me think of? As it had no ending, and the way it was, and because it's not one main proper lead character, it seems to be two kind of equal billing, but they're both not. Do you know what I mean? It kind of reminds me of like an episode of a season of a show. It just literally feels like one of the episodes, or one of the extra long episodes. But it just
Maybe,
dropped
yes.
into it almost, sort of thing. I know you've got the beginning of that when sort of but it doesn't really explain it. It just happens. So it feels like it's something of a story which is already happening, and we're just getting delved into it. That's how it felt for me.
Well, as they walk the tunnel with this third guy, he's, as you pointed out earlier, we will see a pattern here of whoever joins them on their travels. This guy is brutally murdered by someone just like The Shining, with an axe, actually.
Yeah. This is DJ Liquid.
It is DJ Liquid, brutally murdered with an axe.
I love that he's like, "Oh, I'm." So who have we got here? A character's name. So we got John Cusack as Clay and Samuel Jackson as Tom. So it's like, "Hi, I'm Clay." I'm Tom." Oh no, they've done it earlier, didn't they? And he's like, "Hey, and I'm DJ Liquid." And then, "Oh, okay," and it's actually fairly realistic. They're sort of okay. They don't take the piss, but they have to sort of get their mind to go, "Oh, it wasn't Dave."
Yeah.
Okay.
You look more like a John to me, but that's fine.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. There is some stuff in it that makes it. I don't know. Didn't mind the film. It's kind of like a sort of movie like Halloween Resurrection. I could probably put on while I'm doing other stuff.
I believe Stephen King adjusted the book to the screenplay as well, so he would have had obviously helped, with the input of just making it a little bit more quirky, because when a Stephen King novel or when a Stephen King screenplay is good, it's really good, and it's usually good because it's quite quirky and has its own sort of character. And I feel like this has enough randomness in it and enough originality in it to slightly elevate it above some of the other movies that we've seen a lot of. It's no 28 Days Later. It's not Dawn of the Dead remake, but it's, for me, it's kind of close. It's something different about it. Yes, okay, we'll get to the ending. But
the director also did Paranormal Activity 2.
There we go. Look. Todd. What's his name?
His name is Todd Williams.
Todd Williams. There we go.
So DJ Liquid goes. Basically, they come out into a tunnel and they look ahead of him, silhouetted of about 6 or 7 small characters, quite small, further away, obviously in the distance. And they're like, they have this quick discussion. Are they good, or are they?
They call them phoners, don't they? Are they phoners or are they non-phoners?
Oh, they're fucked up, the zombies, whatever. And DJ Liquid goes forward, and all of a sudden, very much a Shining flat. Oh, is it a callback to Shining?
Yeah, it would have been.
Come on, you got to
for
guess.
Stephen,
All of a sudden, it's Jack Nicholson come around a corner and acts into like he does into Thingamajiggy.
Yeah,
Scatman.
So they climb up because they're then suddenly chased.
So they're like, fuck, let's turn around, because those other characters were bad. So yeah.
They climb up the subway ladder and they pop out on the street. And I said to my wife, this sound of the air raid sirens, there's something terrifying about that sound.
Yeah. It's very 28 Days Later now as well. It just feels really hectic. The camera is like they got that very like fairly fast-paced handheld movement to it. Not too bad actually. I thought it was going to be worse than this. I was actually, it didn't bother me. I didn't notice it, but I did occasionally notice it, bit movement, but it didn't enough so I didn't notice it. Where like my problem with that Liv Tyler film at the house.
Liv Tyler
at the house, and the people come to the house.
The Strangers.
Yeah, that's what I can't watch that film because who the fuck is that with a camera? What are you doing?
Jesus Christ!
Fuck off.
Well, everything's on fire when they get to street level. The air raid sirens are going off, and they hear noises, but they can't see anybody. So they make their way back to John Cusack's apartment.
And they're a good duo. I like to be. Well, we only had a very really one scene in that apartment, whatever it's called, or room. What's that movie called? He's in.
Room 2. something.
Yeah, whatever it's called.
That Stephen King
That
one.
number, room number. I liked them in that, and I think they could duo in this as well.
Yeah, they work well together. So they go back to John's apartment, and they're sort of talking, you know, what's going on? What do we do? Can I borrow your phone, Samuel L. Jackson? Samuel Jackson says, why? And he says, well, I want to text my son, and I haven't got any battery in my phone, and I just, you know, do you think it's safe to text? So he texts his son, but all he gets back is a load of sort of
Jumbled
nonsense,
up. Yeah.
and he's like, well, maybe it doesn't work. And then Samuel L. Jackson says, look, put my phone in the freezer because that'll keep it cooler and the battery will last longer.
I got Sarah to check this. Fact check, Sarah did, and yes, it can be done, but it's probably not advisable.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that was probably back 10, 15 years ago was a bit of an urban myth, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to put my phone in the freezer. I'll just charge it overnight.
And then all of a sudden there's a bang at the door.
Banging on the door.
Door bangers.
And who is it? It's Alice, the girl from upstairs.
The girl from Orphan.
And she says, I've just killed my mother.
How come she's gone back to normality?
She didn't. She was never a phoner.
Oh, her mum was. She
Yes.
killed her mum in self-defence.
Yes. So she's very upset because she's just killed her mum who tried to kill her. She's come downstairs. She said, I can't stay in that apartment anymore. My mum's up there. It smells of dead bodies.
Yeah,
and
he says to come take
blood.
a shower. Do you want food? Do you want drink?
And she knows him. It's nothing dodgy. She knows that they live in the same apartment building.
Yeah, probably said hello before. And
And she's walked in and she's seen Samuel L. Jackson and John Cusack, two older men, thinks they seem like they've got their heads switched on.
She feels safe enough to have a sleep, and he says rest. But if anything, she's happy there because he reassures her and says, "Don't worry, we'll still be here." That's
It's
why
really
that's
sweet,
why
actually.
This feels like a Walking Dead episode or something.
It's really sweet when she lies on the sofa after a shower and he says, get some sleep. We're not going anywhere. And it's really sweet, actually. He's starting to become. He's thinking, shit, I am a dad, and this is the chance for me to show a little bit of parental skills, look after this girl. So he does. And Samuel L. Jackson is just like a good guy. So
Yeah, I can see where you're kind of going with that, but I still think John Cusack's a fucking shit parent. I don't think you can give him. I don't think give him any thought that he's going like parentally he's doing that. I think he's not an arsehole. He's just
now again, realistically,
got some issues.
You should probably get some sleep.
Yeah.
But realistically, if the world's turned to shit in 12 hours, you're going to sit up all night with Samuel L. Jackson drinking whiskey, discussing what the fuck's going on, which is what they do. They drink, they talk about what are we going to do? I'm going to go and find my family. Do you want to come with me? Well, I got nothing else to do. I guess I will. Okay.
What would you? I'd sit there and I'd just be like, let's just go through your best movie lines. I know you don't want to, but come on, it's the last night on Earth, possibly. Best lines, say motherfucker to me, and just start doing some EKO and all that shit. Start fucking going for it. That's what I'd ask him to do. Then I'd do impressions, and I'd get him to vote what he thinks of mine impressions.
Okay.
And then I'd get him to do impressions of me.
Brilliant.
And I'd
That's
vote
how
that.
you'd spend your last night on Earth.
And then
with Samuel.
we'd rate each other's impressions of each other, basically.
Well, they ask Alice if she wants to go, and she says, I wherever you're going, I think I'll come. They're like, good, because we should probably all stick together. So that's great. That's all good.
They question, is it a terrorist attack again? They have this debate. Then there's a phone call from the freezer. I've never had a phone call from the freezer, have you?
No, I have not.
No.
But they hang up on it because they think, well, if we answer that.
Yeah, it was very wise of them to, actually, because first of all, my dumbass self watched it and went, oh, what do that is?
Hello?
Hi, I'm just going to put you on loudspeaker.
Fucking hell. So, yeah, they hang up on it, and it's clearly, it's probably his wife or someone.
Well, it's the thing, isn't it? No, it's the bad thing. There's a zombie montage.
Yeah, so morning, comes, and we see thousands of infected roaming like packs, or as Alice says, they're like flocks of birds. And they kind of follow each other and do the same movements. So there's definitely like they're one mind, like a hive mind, she says. And there's definitely that happening. They're like bees, aren't they? Somebody says later on. Stacey Keach says they're like bees.
They do leave the flat, and it's always one of those things. It's always, I felt like this. I think this is why it feels more 28 Days Later than Walking Dead. It feels very 28 Days Later when they've got to sort of move from one place to the other. Because when they found that tower block in London, and they go up to there with a taxi driver up at the top there, you feel like you're quite a safe place for a moment. And I'd be like, I don't want to go anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying here. But you have to go because you can't stay there. But this has that very much that feel to it. With them, like it's a safe place, but okay, we've got to move on again.
Yeah, and they sneak out of John Cusack's apartment, and they're sort of sneaking down the road, and they can see around the corner a whole bunch of the infected, and they think, oh, we'll have to hide here. And then they see a couple on a motorbike, and they think, oh God, and they sort of signal to them, no, don't. Too late, the loud motorbike attracts all of the infected, and they get ripped apart.
Yep.
Literally torn apart by the infected. So bye-bye to them.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So they then walk for hours and hours and hours. There's a lot of that here. It's a bit like Lord of the Rings at times.
Yeah.
And they see a house that has signs up saying, it's my right to bear arms, and all these kind of stickers all over the car in the driveway. And they think, John Cusack very bravely says, I'd feel safer if we had a gun. Maybe we should go to this house and see, A, if there's anyone still in it, and B, if there's any guns. And she's like, don't do that. Why would you do that? And he looks at Samuel L. Jackson. He says, are you kidding me? A black guy going to walk up to a house like this, who's got tons of guns during an apocalyptic event like this? I'm getting killed. I'll stay back here, thanks very much, with the golf club that I'm holding. So John Cusack breaks into the house. And lo and behold, they find a load of dead bodies in the basement. It's been a shootout. But they also find quite a few guns.
Well, the girls have committed suicide, haven't they?
Yes, a couple of girls committed suicide. So John Cusack grabs a couple of guns. And when he gets back upstairs, Sammy Jackson has acquired himself an assault rifle that was in the house and a load of clips for it, and he's also given Alice a pretty nifty looking gun as well. So these guys are really tooled up now, so well done to John Cusack for pointing them in the direction of this house. They could have all been killed if it was the man that was still alive, but he wasn't. So yeah, got some guns now.
It's a good call. They see a little kid on a swing out the back.
Who's that outside? I was waiting for one of them to go, there's a girl in the garden. In the garden there's a girl, but it wasn't. It was a boy on a swing. So they go out and they say, excuse me, young man on the swings.
Yes.
Are you okay? And he's holding a little doggy, isn't he?
Oh, the doggy's nicely being petted. The dog is shaking. The dog does some great acting.
Good acting from the dog.
The dog says, get me the fuck off this thing. It's stroking me.
The boy looks round and...
well, he comes at them. It's a zombie type thing. He comes at them, and so they shoot him, and straight away, what's that do? Makes a lot of noise.
Yeah, but they realise later on, so just to jump ahead before we get through the chase, they realise that he signalled them. They saw what he saw. This is where they realise there's a bit of a hive mind mentality.
It's
because
they've got a version of a Body Snatchers type tip.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely got that vibe to it as well. You're right, and I think that's another reason I like it. I do really like this one.
It is very much Invasion of Body Snatchers mixed with 28 Days Later, mixed with kind of like Walking Dead.
Yeah, and those are all good things. So yeah, well done, Holly, for this, for, getting us to watch this one and review it. So we then get chased through the woods, and they're running, and they're running, and they're running, and then eventually they realise
one zombie snaps his ankle. It's horrible.
Oh, and he keeps running.
I didn't like that.
He keeps running on it, doesn't he?
Oh.
But we don't see this very often.
They
decide,
fuck it.
Yeah, they just think, fuck this, we've all got guns, turn around, take them all out. And they do take out about
Most
a
of them,
dozen.
but enough to get going again. It gives them a breather, I guess.
And they come to the docks or the edge of a river, and there's a boat.
Loads more are starting to swarm.
Yeah, so they all hide underneath a boat that's upturned.
Yeah.
And
but then there's all of a sudden there's like some sort of noise, and they all just stop and just leave.
They would just walk back the way they were coming. It's like a static noise, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a strange noise, and it sounds like old dial-up. That sort of squeaky. I can't do the impression, but you know what I mean.
I wonder if there's any listeners that don't know what that sounds like because they never experienced it.
Yeah, there might be some younger
that used to be
listeners.
exciting. That used to be the sound of I'm going to go on the internet, and then you'd get there and go, I can go anywhere in the world, and sit there going, I don't know what to type in. I'll go to the Hotmail.
You used to have to announce to the whole household, I'm just going on the internet, whereas these days we're on it all the time. We don't tell anybody.
Well, yeah, it was constant.
We're on it now.
Yeah.
I'm just going on the internet.
Yeah.
What for? Porn.
It's crazy, isn't it?
I'm going to play The Sims.
Just everything. Anything you want.
Mad. Yeah, so they all go away, and
they think they may be telepathic.
They all stand, so they all stand together, and they're sort of pulsating like a big collection of insects almost. They're sort of up and down breathing. It's all very animalistic. And you're right.
It does take away the creep factor when it has the technology comes into it, and they do this sort of stuff. It takes away that fear factor from the chaos of earlier. Do you know what I mean? Where 28 days later, they're not like that. They're just full on rage the whole time.
And they realise that when the sun starts to go down, that's when this signal goes out, and they all kind of rest and they recharge almost.
And music comes out their mouths.
Yeah, well, we'll come to that in a minute.
Yeah.
So are they all connected? Are they, are they telepathic? They discuss
hip-hop?
these theories.
Would it be hip hop coming out your mouth?
Yeah, it would be. I don't know which song it would be actually. It'd probably be like, "Can I kick it?" Nice. Yes, you can.
I might go for some Ennio Morricone. I might do some Good, the Bad, and the Ugly or something. Wow, wow, wow.
God, imagine that coming out your mouth. That'd be brilliant.
Yeah. Bow, 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 bow.
Actually, I'd probably have. If I could pick any song, I'd probably pick the theme from Enter the Dragon by Lalo Schifrin.
Bow, bow, bow. Whoa, whoa, bow, 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 bow.
Just sleeping with that coming out my mouth constantly. Alice would be so annoyed. Every time he goes to sleep. It's such a banger, isn't it?
I've got it on record, man.
And of course, Lalo Schifrin did, going back to what I was talking about earlier, he did all the Dirty Harry songs, yeah. Apart from one.
I'm a big Schifrin fan, man.
He didn't do Magnum Force, but he did the other ones.
They hear some music and find a house.
Yes.
And
it's a school.
Okay, created by Stacy Keach.
Yeah,
and he
so
talks
he's
about
the
mobile
headmaster.
phones as the devil's intercom.
Yeah, so he's the headmaster of this school. This school has quite a few boys it's a boys' school, and they've survived an attack, and they're sort of holed up in the school because obviously it's a big boarding school. They've got loads of food, probably loads of stuff they can use as weapons. And Stacy Keach is the headmaster, so you're probably going to be doing all right if you've got Stacy Keach. The only person better than Stacy Keach would be having old Tom, what's his face?
Atkins.
Yeah, he'd be a great headmaster in this situation.
And his moustache.
Who would win out of Stacey Keach's moustache versus Tom Atkins' moustache?
Tom Atkins.
100%. Don't even know why I asked that question, really.
Yeah, it's not a question, is it?
So, yeah, Stacey Keach says to them, this is what we know about them. And yes, you're right, they do sleep at night. Let me show you something. And where he takes them to the playing field, doesn't he, Gav? The sports field.
Yeah, it's full up of them laying down.
They're all lying down.
Whole stadium full up.
And he says, don't go near them. And he said, look, it's fine. Look, watch this. And he stabs one of them in the leg. Then he stabs another. He says, I could kill them right now and they wouldn't do anything.
I am quite into some of the scenes later on when they're just driving a truck casually over them.
That is so good. It's so good.
It's so dry humour. It's played down so well.
So they explain to them that at night they kind of reboot. But the trouble is, every morning when they wake up again, they seem to have more. They've evolved slightly. They've got even more powers or abilities or whatever it might be that you call it. So it's almost like every night they're doing a software update. That's how the young kid describes it. Then they realise, like you said earlier, that they can hear music, and the young boy, Johnny, says, "No, Jordan." He says, "Listen, it's." Put your ear to their mouth and you can hear it, and it's that la 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 song that's I can't remember what it's called now, but it's coming out and all of their mouths, and this is where they realise it's linked to this signal, this technology, and they're all transmitting it in somehow. They're all perhaps using the rest of their brain. Because we obviously, as we all know, we only use about 5% of our brains or whatever the figure is. So this might be what happens if, that signal might have unlocked the rest of it. And that means they're all in this hive mind state. They all see what each other can see. They all transmit this signal to each other. That's why they're telepathic. All very Stephen King. And I love it. I'm here for it. And I like the fact they've all got music coming out of their mouths. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Why not? It's different. Never seen it before.
No, it's good.
It'd be different if they were like beatboxing or something, but they're not. They've actually got music just coming out of their mouths. Yeah. It's great. So,
what if it's coming out of their bottoms instead?
There might be stuff coming out the bottoms.
Like Charlie Brown's mum.
Why do they always sound like that on there? The adults just walk in the room.
Don't know. It's good.
The kids are having
these adults talk nonsense.
Well, the kids are having these eloquent conversations, and then it's like, "Oh, here comes your mum, Charlie."
That's what kids think we sound like.
Yeah. Stacey Keach turns. He's just been waiting basically for a couple of guys to turn up like these two, and he says to them, "Look, I'll be honest with you. I just want to get rid of them all. I just want to kill them all. Let's kill them all." And they're like, "Well, how could we do that?" "Well, I've got a truck that we use to spray water on the pitches to keep the football pitches nice and moist when it's summer. We could fill it with gasoline and we could burn them all."
Yeah.
And there's no hesitation. John Cusack. The next scene is John Cusack getting in the car.
It'd pretty much driving along.
He's like, "Let's do it." And Samuel L. Jackson's like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" He's like, "Hell yeah." And they're just drinking whiskey straight out of a decanter. Like, they're having their best time here, aren't they?
You think it's got at least some trauma, surely?
These two must have been psychos already.
At one point they get stuck.
Well, this is the thing, right? So as an audience member, the first time you watch this, you think, right, okay, what are they going to do? They're going to drive around the outside of this football pitch? No. They drive straight through it, over hundreds of bodies, and you hear that as they're crunching over all these bodies. And you're right, it's like you get stuck in the mud at one point.
Yeah.
Nothing. He's not moving or going anywhere. And he looks around to Samuel L. Jackson and he says, "Oh, it must be like stuck on someone's head or something."
Yeah, it's so dry panned.
And he says, "Well, then put it in a lower gear, like you're supposed to do when it's icy or muddy." And he does, and they carry on. So yeah, they've sprayed the entire field with gasoline. They get to the end, and of course, if anyone's going to be firing a flaming arrow with a tennis ball on the end into this crowd of asleep zombies, it's going to be Stacey Keach, of course. So he fires this arrow, and the whole thing goes up. Now, there are probably a dozen or so of them that stand up and start running around on fire, but that's where John Cusack, Samuel L. Jackson, and Alice come in handy with their shotguns.
Just start shooting at them.
Taking them out. So this film is fun. It's fun. It's a fun film. I'm having a great time with it already.
Yeah, I didn't mind it,
As the fire sort of dies down, though, they all feel something. What's that? What can you feel? It feels like rage. And there's almost like a telepathic wave of rage from the rest of the zombies around the world that are infected, because they felt this huge amount of them being wiped out. And they feel the rage, so they're a bit worried, and they say we probably should leave here as soon as possible because we may have alerted others to where we are. So there we go. They all go to sleep, Gav. What do they dream about? A man in a red hoodie.
Oh yeah, it's a man in a red hoodie.
So they all have the same dream about this guy. Slightly different dream for each of them.
Yeah, a zombie blowjob one's getting.
Yeah, well, John Cusack, don't know what's on in his mind, but he's dreaming about zombie blowjobs. But they all wake up and they all realise they've had a dream about this creepy guy with a ripped cheek.
The thing is, this movie, there's no real conclusion to it. It's just a thing. It's not actually a very well written story, really. The idea.
Yeah, it's not.
There's nothing like a major thing.
It's not executed as well as the book. Obviously, I'm not going to be that guy, but there's definitely they could have definitely given it because when reading a book, you kind of like it's a long process. With a film, it's 90 minutes, and you kind of want a solid ending. Really, you want to understand what you've just been through, the reason why you've just been through it, and it doesn't quite give you that. It also doesn't quite explain the red hoodie guy as well as you'd like. So they're dreaming about this guy. They call him the king. I think they call him the internet king or something is what they're all calling him. And he seems to be the leader of the infected. Did he come up with the signal? We don't know. We were never told that. All we know is he can infiltrate people's dreams. And we also find out that John Cusack drew this guy, and he's the baddie in one of his novels, graphic novels. Again, why? We don't know. We don't know why John Cusack is the key to all of this and why he invented it. This is where it falls down a bit.
This is where I'm not going to rush to watch it again really anytime soon.
It's a weird one. We get more walking, more looting. They go in shops. All we know is that the darkness is coming. We've got to get going. Red hoodie guys appearing in our dreams.
This is one thing. They don't really at all start discussing more the fact that it's his character. It's my character. I drew it. Oh, okay. Next scene, we're just carrying on. Surely that's a crazy thing. You're all dreaming of this guy's... Like, he drew this and we're dreaming it. Like... Is this some Freddy Krueger shit going on here? What's going on?
Well, that's the thing. During the watching of it, I don't really think about it. It's only when I'm reviewing it back with you that I'm like picking it apart. But at the time, you just kind of go with it, really, because there's enough cool shit thrown in around it. You know, like when they see a big pile of cell phones that's like been set on fire and it's smoking still, and then they throw the only cell phone they've got.
Yeah.
It starts ringing and they just throw it on the pile of smoking phones. They're like, nah. So they make their way further up north.
Find a cabin, bar.
It starts snowing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And they find a bar. And they go into the bar and there are probably a dozen or so people in there who are non-phoners. And they discuss phoners and what a phoner is. And, you know, they all start getting pissed and they start doing karaoke. They're looking for songs with telephone in the title. Samuel L. Jackson sings.
I've never seen Samuel L. Jackson drunk before.
He starts singing, "Hey there, wait a minute, Mr. Postman." But that's not on the jukebox. But what is on the jukebox, Gav? Do you remember the song?
No.
You can ring my bell.
Oh yeah, Needs Award.
And they sing that on karaoke. They get really drunk. John Cusack talks to Alice about his wife and his kid and his regrets, and they all go to sleep. And of course, they dream about the red hoodie guy, probably giving John Cusack another blowjob in the toilets. Yeah. Now, the lady who kind of half owns the bar, the older lady, she gets up in the middle of the night, half asleep, half dreaming, half awake, and she hears a noise out the front door. And it turns out she gets infected because a new power they've evolved now is that they can say the signal out of their mouths. They no longer need phones. And they can do the signal. And if you hear the signal and they whisper it in your ear, you become a phoner as well.
Yeah, she basically lets loads of fuckers in.
Silly lady.
It's like when they're held up at the Winchester, isn't it?
Yeah, and that twat opens the door. What's his name? I hate him. You know. Fuck you, Four Eyes. That guy.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I love our tangents. Fuck you, Four Eyes. And then we just carry on. By the way, we're both wearing glasses, so we can say "fuck you" for us. Can we go?
Yeah, we are not eyist.
Eyist. We're not sightist.
No, not sightist in any way.
So yeah, like you said, she lets a load of them in. Alice gets hurt during the shootout. She gets hit in the back of the head actually, and starts hemorrhaging in her eye from the head wound, and then she dies. So we've lost Alice now.
Yep, that's that one down. We've got to get another one now for the threesome.
All the while, Red Hoodie is watching them from outside. So they leave. They walk. They discuss. You know, they're not just killing anymore. They are recruiting into their ranks by using this signal. So it's more than that. They're trying to take over the world. So it's planned. It's like the otters, Gav. It's like the otters. It's planned. Biting you on the bottom.
Bottom otters.
They meet some people in the woods.
So there's 3 of them once again.
Well, there's a couple of them in the woods, and they are mental. One of them has been awake for 5 days. The guy says he's been awake for 5 days.
He's not my favourite actor.
He is fucking nuts.
In this.
He is so unhinged. I mean, anyone would be if they'd been awake for 5 days.
He's speeded out of his head, isn't he?
He's so crazy. And he says, we kill phone freaks. We're here to kill them. And I've dreamed about the president of the internet as well. Yeah, I've dreamed about that guy too. And basically, there are a couple of rednecks in the woods, and John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson haven't really got any choice other than to sort of, join up with these guys because, he says, I've got a phoner trapped and tied up. Can I show you it? And it's the girl, it's her brother, and he's got a sack over his head. And basically, he's like an alarm. So anytime the phoners come near their camp, he sort of goes and sort of lets them know. And they're like, "Oh shit, there's one nearby."
Yeah.
So it's different. We've not seen this before. However, it picks up on the fact that John Cusack is nearby, and it starts suddenly talking like his son.
Yeah, Samuel Jackson going, "It's not your son, obviously," but
He's going, Dad, when are you coming home? Dad, when are you coming home? Dad, which is the last thing he said to him on the phone. Obviously, John Cusack freaks out, takes the sack off his head, blows him away in front of his sister, which causes her to be upset. And they're compromised now because the last thing it saw just before it blew him away was them. So they all now know where they are in the woods. Well done, John.
When he stops an ice cream truck?
Yes, they get an ice cream truck, which is owned by the guy who hasn't slept. And they're driving along, and his name's Ray. He says, I think your son's dead, John Cusack, if I'm honest with you. And he's like, well, don't say that. I'm going to try and find him. He said, look, stop the truck a minute. I want to show you something. What? Just stop the truck. So they stop the ice cream truck, and Ray takes John Cusack off into the woods. And he said, what's going on? He's like, look, basically, I'm going to give you this phone, and you'll know what to do with it when the time is right, but don't ring the number until the time is right. I can't give you any more information than that. What do you mean?
Yeah, I was hoping this would have actually been tied up better when it actually happens, but...
Hang on a minute, Ray. What's that around your neck? Don't worry about that. Just remember that I've given you a phone, and when the time's right, you've got to ring the number on it. Okay. What's that around your neck? It's a bomb, and he explodes his head off.
Yeah.
Explodes his own head off. So John Cusack heads back to the ice cream truck. Never thought I'd be saying that in a film review. John Cusack heads back to the ice cream truck and says, well, Ray's dead. He's just blown his own head off with a bomb. Let's get going. So they arrive at John Cusack's wife's house.
Yeah, he goes in now, obviously, to see if his kid's there or not.
He calls out, Johnny! No answer. Johnny! Obviously no answer at all.
Well, that dude, before he committed suicide and the blew his noggin off, he started saying that he was seeing things, and he's like awake now. He's having like an awakening. And that's why he decided today he's got to end it and pass the phone over and stuff.
That's right. He said It's not just
You
in my
can't hold
dreams
it
now.
anymore. Yeah, it's in the daytime. I'm seeing it as well. It's not a dream, so I'm like daydreaming it as well. So basically going insane. You know,
and that's what staying up for a week will do to you.
Yeah.
You know, what you may have seen in the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, you can't physically stay up more than about 3 days without going absolutely mental.
Yeah, I'll go.
What's the longest you've ever stayed up? 3 hours?
I don't know. Maybe 20. I don't know. I would have thought good 24, 25 hours, possibly. I don't know. Can't think why, but there would have been occasions, definitely.
I think probably like 2.5 days for me.
Yeah.
Huge cocaine binge. No, I'm joking. It was flying either to or from Australia. Didn't sleep the whole way. Landed.
Couldn't sleep.
Just couldn't sleep. Was excited, and the way it worked as well with time zones. And then we landed in Japan, and we had like 6 hours in Japan. Then got back on the plane, and then I got there, and our friends met us in Australia, and we were so excited, and we went out for dinner and drinks. And I was like, shit, I haven't slept for like 2.5 days, and I could feel like my body was starting to just shut down. So I went and like slept for like 12 hours, maybe more, straight through. I woke up feeling like a different person. It was great.
Nice.
But yeah, well, that was a long time without sleep for me. So yeah, that was only 2.5 days. So
yeah,
can only imagine what a week would be like. Anyway, his son Johnny has left a message on the fridge in Fridge Magnets that says,
"Yeah,
Dad, go to Cashwhack," which is a place in Canada, or I don't know. It's to do with a big phone signal mast, isn't it?
I don't know. But it's later on, you feel kind of bad for him, possibly because they sort of say that's fake. Like someone's put that there. Then you go, oh, because like me myself, if I was going after Elijah, my son, and I was going back for him, I'd be gutted because thinking he'd wrote that, be like, oh, he wrote that, and then find out they could be fake.
Yeah.
Oh no, that'd break my heart.
Because he hears a noise in the attic.
Yeah.
And it becomes quite a creepy moment, actually.
Going out of loft, like the one in my attic.
Yeah. Well, he goes up there, and he is immediately attacked by the guy in the red hood from his dreams. Has a bit of a fight with them, ends up killing them, realises it was his ex-wife, or his current wife, whatever she is, his estranged wife, dressed in the red hood. She is a phoner, and she was tricking him, and she probably put that fake Fridge Magnet message up, and he's just killed her.
Yeah.
Then they find out that the ice cream truck isn't full of ice cream like Phantasm. No. It's full of C4, enough to sort of blow up an entire block. A lot of explosives in this ice cream truck. John Cusack says, I'm going to take the ice cream truck with me, and I'm going to go to the source and sort this shit out.
Yeah.
He says to Jordan, the young lad from the school, you and Samuel L. Jackson, you go your way, and I'll catch you back up. Just spray paint your initials on the, every now and again as you're going along in your journey, and I'll find you. Don't you worry, I'll find you. Okay, off they go then. And he drives off now in the ice cream truck. And he finds the cell tower, the main cell tower that's got thousands and thousands of phoners walking around in a circle in unison.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's a bit creepy, isn't it?
Very creepy. And he thinks, well, I need to get to the centre.
He just drives through him.
Just drives through him. He's got no problems with driving through thousands of people, has he?
I love it, and he's doing it while kind of looking at a bit of paper. He's not even looking. He's not concerned in the slightest by them.
He's been through a lot of the last couple of days.
They're just annoying.
It's like driving through a cloud of flies that's just in front of you.
Yeah, I don't know what that's like driving, actually. It's just kind of just going, fuck it, I don't care. What would that be?
Because even like sheep in the road, you would stop and wait.
Well, yeah.
Beep, beep. You wouldn't sort of just keep driving through.
Like literally plough and take out a load of animals. That'd be just fucking terrible.
Some ducks crossing the road.
Don't, because I had a situation, and I'm not going to say because it was fucking traumatising. I'm not even going to say what happened.
Not long after we bought our car, our first car, we went to our buddy Mark, his wedding, actually. And on the way back from his wedding in the morning, we went into a service station to get McDonald's. And as we were driving out of it, a squirrel ran underneath the car. And Alice, she was driving, she couldn't swerve out of the way. And we both felt the squirrel, and then it sort of went flying out to the left, landed in some bushes as she pulled over. And I just said, "You just killed a squirrel." She said, "I know, I feel really bad." Yeah. I went, "Anyway, pass me that Big Mac." And then we carried on eating our McDonald's. So we did feel bad, but we were so hungry that...
And I'm going to say just very, very, very quickly, a good rest for my cat Fizzy.
Oh, I meant to say that in the intro.
Yeah.
Fizzy was sometimes on the podcast, mentioned several times. And back in the early days when we used to record together a lot more, Fizzy would quite often be sat on, either between us or on one of our laps.
Yeah.
Quite often we'd have to pause recording sometimes if Fizzy scratched at the door and wanted to be let in.
Oh, I forgot that.
Remember that? We used to have to, hang on a minute. Sorry, Dan, let me just
let
the cat in. Yeah.
Oh, bless
her.
her.
So rest in peace, Fizzy. She was, how old was she? About 19 in the end.
Yeah, she was a lovely cat, really nice.
Really.
I'd say goodbyes. Hard Day is actually literally saying, say goodbye to her, tell her I love her and that, and she's been a good cat, and then literally turn around and walk out and just go, right, I've got to leave. I couldn't stay there for it. But she is very old and not very comfortable. So.
She wasn't very well in the end, so she's happier now, in a happier place now, bless her. But
she went all limp in my arms when they sedated her, and it was horrible.
Oh. Well, she had a bloody good life with you guys. So.
Yeah. I've been thinking about her, and I think of the good things. So
often think of her sat next to the microwave. Yeah. If you went near her food, she'd hiss at you occasionally because she was protective of her food, and that was fine.
See, you're remembering the young Fizzy, which I don't remember so well. So you've got good memories. You have to sit with me one day and tell me your memories of Fizzy.
So yeah, rest in peace to Fizzy Cat.
Yeah, Fizzy Cat.
So back to John Cusack just ploughing through people in his ice cream truck. Again, a sentence I never thought I'd say, but there we go. He sees Red Hoodie in the middle and he's beckoning to him. So what does he do, Gav?
Runs him over.
Just drives at him. He goes flying back into the pole.
Shoots him.
He shoots him. He blows him away. And then he hears Johnny's voice coming from the crowd. Dad,
that's his kid. Yeah.
Dad. So he starts fighting his way through the crowd.
Yep.
And after a while, he manages to find his son. But sadly, his son is a phoner.
A boner?
A boner. Because the signal starts to come out of his mouth. And he thinks, this is the time to ring that phone that Roy gave me earlier. Now, the phone is actually the detonator for the C4 in the ice cream truck.
But I didn't know that, so I suppose that's kind of a twist. But then so he blows up everybody and everything, and
the cell tower and everything, and that's kind of the end. And the epilogue we get is him happily walking through the woods.
Go meet my friends.
Yeah, we're walking along. I can't wait for you to meet Samuel L. Jackson and all the people that kind of survived this with me. Oh, look, there's more initials there. We're getting close to them. Great. Dad, where are we going again? Canada.
So this is what's playing in his head as he's laying there. So all of these people are laying there. Are they playing like something in their head, which they're living?
Yeah, I think they're all
they must
in
be.
there.
They all must
because what Gav's referring to there is then we cut back to the crowd of infected just ambling along as one big unit.
He is one of them.
And he's one of them in there, and he's a phoner, but the main thing is he's happy.
Okay.
Because in his head, he's living his best life, and maybe they're all living their best life and they're happy. A bit like the Matrix, it's like that. They're all living their best lives, but actually they're all zombies. And then they're all singing Liverpool Football Club anthem, which is
Never Walk Alone.
You'll never walk alone, which is maybe something to be said as well. They're in unison. They're all.
Is there supposed to be a commentary on cellular phone? Everyone having a phone?
I'm not sure.
What is it about?
I think it's just Stephen King trying to terrify you.
It's not terrifying at all.
Well, I mean, the original concept is it loses its way in the third act because Stephen King's ideas in a book don't often translate well to the screen, as we know.
Yeah, I just got no conclusion. That's what bugs me about it.
Yeah, the ending is definitely.
It doesn't make me want to watch the film again.
But it doesn't. Well, that's the thing. I enjoy the ride. Sometimes with films, I enjoy the ride, and then the ending is a bit meh.
But I enjoyed that. I enjoyed their threesome journey as they always went along. Three people, stop.
And I agree with you. This is definitely one that I'll put on in the background. It's a good one to maybe put on while you're in bed, falling asleep. I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm just saying you don't need the ending. It's probably best if you don't really watch the ending if you've already seen this a couple of times.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I want that ending in the woods to be the ending.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want him to be a phoner, or I want it to be
a boner.
I want some more answers. I want to know why Red Hoodie. I want to know why John Cusack.
Well, exactly. There's no explanation of Red Hoodie.
And it's been so long since I read the book that I honestly couldn't tell you.
But you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
When you watch this film, make sure you've got a buddy who's read the book who can tell you what the fuck's going on at the end.
But overall, I do really like this movie. You know, it was a long time coming. There was that 2-year delay I talked about. And I wonder what was going on during that 2 years. Were they changing? Were they reshooting? There's no one knows. So I'd love them to have done something better with it, perhaps definitely the last act. But overall, I'm going to, and we didn't say this for Razorblade Smile, but sadly, that's going to be a thumbs down for me.
That's a thumbs down for me.
But for this one, I'm going to give this one a thumbs up and say, if you've never seen it, check it out. It's definitely worth a couple of watches, even if you've seen it once. A couple of years later, if you turn over the Horror Channel and it's on, I'll watch it. You know, it's.
I'll give it a thumbs up, and I'll recommend it. And if you're a fan of Sam Jackson or John Cusack or both, then yes, you should probably watch it.
I think you summed it up well by saying it's a good cross between Invasion of the Body Snatchers 28 Days Later with like a sprinkling of survival stuff like Walking Dead. However, there are some flaws in it, particularly in the third act, but there's enough good stuff in it that makes it an interesting watch.
Eye candy if you just turn your brain off.
Yeah.
You're not getting a great conclusion, but maybe you'd have fallen asleep by then. So yeah, there you go.
So there we go. So that's Cell. So Holly, thank you so much. Really enjoyed discussing those. Really enjoyed watching parts of Razorblade Smile, and another chance for me to watch Cell, which I really like. So thank you, Holly.
Let's do a comeback in a bit.
Let's go away and come back again.
Yes. Goodbye. Back again.
Back again.
Renegade Master, Big Boy Challenger.
Power to the people.
Yep.
It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a dope mic to step to.
Don't start. People, I know Sarah's already probably just.
We should have done the Leprechaun in the Hood and In the Hood 2 to celebrate the 50th anniversary of hip hop. We should have reviewed them again. No way. Fuck that. Well, yeah, that was episode 139. That was a patron.
Thanks for coming along. Yeah, we did record, I think, for that.
We did.
But, yeah, I don't know where that is. It's not on the timeline.
We'll find it.
I might have
re-record it.
I might have deleted it. But we had one. We had ready to use.
So thank you so much, Holly. For your choices. Thank you. I need to take the crown back from you now, but you have been our queen patron for the entire episode. Holly Matthews, aka Holly Mitchell, aka your patron name, which is Lex Boo. So yeah, brilliant stuff. Always love our patron picks.
Yes,
never know what you're going to get.
Appreciate that, Holly. Thank you.
With these.
Until next time.
So next episode is episode 140, and we are going to our final destination. We're doing Final Destination 1 and 2, so 2000 and 2003, so an odd time for horror. It was just picking up steam again. It was a good time in some ways. So yeah, looking forward to reviewing those. good cast, especially in the first one with Stifler and a few other people in it. Some great deaths to talk about, and we can talk about how you can just be killed by anything. Yeah.
Yep.
Big fan of those two movies. Episode 141 after that will be probably the end of a summer, really. We'll be celebrating with some hot, sticky New York 80s horror. And we're talking about Chud from 1984 and Basket Case from 82. So, yeah, we'll be getting into some gross, low-budget body horror in New York style shenanigans. And that means that episode 142 after that will be another patron pick. And I'm already in talks with a patron. I won't say any more than that at the moment. So we don't know what that episode's going to be yet because it's up to them.
Exciting.
That's what's coming up next. So Final Destination 1 and 2, then Chud and Basket Case, followed by a patron pick. Imagine a movie that was Chud and Basket Case and they got together.
Chud Case.
And they were fighting.
Chud.
They were like private detectives. You went in the office and Chud was sort of behind the counter with a hat on drinking whiskey and the basket was just on the side and it opened up and came sort of, right, let's go do it. Okay, yeah.
Chud
cool.
has to pick up the basket and run with it on his head.
And one episode, Basket Case says, my cousin's coming over. You might know him. He's that guy that's attached to that other guy on Total Recall. Yeah, I know your cousin. You know, the little guy that lives on the guy's tummy on the...
Yeah.
Total Recall.
They're like buddies, aren't they? I haven't seen Basket Case for many years now. I've seen part 1, part 2, and probably part 3, actually. It's just a weird type of movie, yeah. And,
especially 2 and 3, when you start getting into like the group of freaks that he hangs out with, it's just...
Well, and Sarah and I watched Chud for the first time like 2 years ago, but on Amazon Prime, and then
the ending was fucked up, wasn't it?
The ending fucked up, and it just did something really weird, and I don't know what happens in the end. So, interested to find out what happens.
Yeah.
And segue, High Strangeness podcast, which I do with Sarah, we just covered New York 1970s and the Son of Sam killer, if you want to know about all that stuff.
The birth of hip hop and punk,
disco,
the blackouts, rat invasions, trash strikes, and generally just gangs and lots of crime and stuff.
Yeah.
And then, as you mentioned in that episode, the 70s then wrapped up nicely with a crack pandemic in New York. So, good times.
And the Wall Street boom, yes.
Yeah.
Which is
cocaine
interesting, really.
And yuppies.
Yeah.
Wow. What a time to be alive in the 70s.
A lot of money in cocaine were just going around.
Yeah. Crazy. So we might talk about some of that when we cover Chud and Basket Case, but obviously we'll keep it more around the 80s, what was going on there, because New York was a very strange place in the 80s, and still is in some ways. I've been there twice, and it's an odd... There's very lots of energy there, a very vibe, but also a very odd place at the same time. Met some real characters. We went there exactly 4 weeks after 9/11, the first time I went, with Rob and Dave, who you know, my two besties. And that was a very strange time. We couldn't cancel our holiday because we would have lost all the money, because we didn't really have the travel insurance for it. So we ended up still going to New York, but it was empty. There was no one there. And Ground Zero was still smoking.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I took a picture of it, and I've got it somewhere. And everywhere we went, there was pictures of firemen and policemen up on all the buildings. And any bars we went in, and they found out we were English, they were so pleased that there were tourists, because they'd lost so much money in those 4 weeks. Yeah. Because no one was going there. And then when me and Alice got together, I treated her to a holiday in New York. I mean, I paid for some of it, the flight, but I come into a bit of money basically and said, I'll take you to New York. I don't have any money anymore. So me and her went there about 12 years ago, and it was a very different vibe because it was back to normal, and it was full of crazy people and guys on the street that'll talk to you about anything, and bars that are open for 24 hours. And it was the New York that I dreamed of going to. It was crazy times. But yeah, highly recommend New York. It's a Crazy place. I wouldn't go back there now, though, with all the gun problems that the US have got. Probably be a bit scary. Feels like everyone's getting shot every few seconds.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of my travel plans, Gav. Is there any, before we wrap up, is there anything more you wanted to say? We've talked about Star Wars Sanctuary Moon.
No, nothing really. Thanks for always for listening and coming along with us for the journey. Thank you, patrons, all for all the stuff you give us. The love, that is.
Love and money.
Yeah. But it's appreciated. And,
yes, it really is.
Helps. Yeah, no, nothing really. I'm looking forward to the next episode. It's always great to chat away nonsense with you.
Yeah, me too. Final Destination 1 and 2 would be fantastic.
Yeah, I picked it up on Blu-ray, so interested in the older transfer, see if that looks nice. I don't think I've ever seen an HD. Oh, no, it came on Netflix once, so I think I probably have, actually. Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen the first couple.
I like them both. Fan of both of them.
Yeah, I think after that they go downhill, but they're still fun enough. The 3, 4, and 5 are still fun enough.
Not too bad. Then it goes 4 and 5. Yeah, 3's got Mary Elizabeth Winstead at least.
Yeah, 3's good. That's the one on the fairground, right?
Yeah, I think 4 might be the car
4
track.
is the NASCAR racing.
5's the bridge.
5, I don't remember 5 at all. I definitely seen it, but I don't remember
it. The bridge goes down.
Okay. Cool. All right, well, let's do some admin, and then we'll get out of here. So, as always, we have been the Podcast on Haunted Hill. We are a proud member of Legion Podcast Network. Go over to legionpodcast.com to find out more about us and the other shows. There's plenty of shows there to tickle your fancy, depending on what you're into. You can also email us at the Podcast on Haunted Hill at outlook.com, not outlaw. Outlook.com. And if you jump on Facebook, that's where we're most active. Legion have their own Facebook page as well, Legion Podcast, but we do too. Podcast on Haunted Hill. You can join our Facebook page and you can chat to us directly. You can message us directly, as well as email us on that email address. You can suggest things, ask about becoming a patron, whatever it is you want to do, or you can just join in with the silliness, the banter that's been going on for almost 10 years now on that Facebook page. Some really established people on there, some good friends we've made. Some of them I've never met and probably never will, but a little family, crazy family on Haunted Hill. Wherever you're listening to us now is where you can continue to listen to us. Most podcast platforms and catchers, Spotify, YouTube, Podknife, Apple, and all that stuff. We aren't really doing Twitter anymore, or X as it's called. Not bothered about that, so I'm not going to bother.
It's called X now.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I came off Twitter a while ago when Elon Musk he's like, there's not going to be many bots and stuff on there and stuff, and then all of a sudden, just like I used to go there every day just to see what was going on and stuff, and then it all just changed, and then I had just loads of just like women with not many clothes on following me.
Well, we'd never really had much.
And I never had that before. I was like, why am I getting all this?
We never had much traffic on Twitter anyway, so we're not really that bothered about it anymore. So I won't bother reading out our Twitter handle anymore. We are still on Instagram though, and I use Instagram really mainly just to promote the show with little collages. But it's the Podcast on Haunted Hill Insta if you want to follow us on there. And then we talked about Star Wars Sanctuary Moon, and that's all being done via our little film-making production team family, Deadbolt Films. There is a website, deadboltfilms.com. There is a YouTube channel, which is Deadbolt Films.
Yep.
And there is an Instagram handle, which is just all one word, Deadbolt Films.
If you are a frequent YouTube user, could you just literally pop on there and subscribe to the channel? It won't take a moment. And that way you'll see when the Star Wars stuff comes out.
Yeah.
You'll just see it, just be there. And we won't be like throwing stuff down your throat all the time anyway if you subscribe, so...
Yeah, but it's just fun.
And it's not that bad anyway on YouTube if you do, because if you got content which you're subscribed to comes up, it's like there's so much content, it's easy to go past. You know what I mean? It's not like a barrage of just influx, of shit.
It's not like Peter Griffin in that one episode where he decided he would complete YouTube, and he spent 5 years straight without sleeping watching everything on YouTube because he was determined to
But you
Brian
couldn't
was like,
anymore,
why are you
could
doing that? No, you couldn't.
Just
You could not.
because it'd be continuous. I've not seen that episode. I have to watch it.
Brian's like, what's he doing? And Stewie's like, oh, he's decided he wants to try and complete YouTube and watch everything on YouTube. And he's just there watching cats playing pianos and, you know, all this, everything that there is on there. It's just ridiculous amounts of content on there. And finally, a big thank you to all of our patrons. Thank you, patron supporters. If you want to become a patron supporter and be like Holly, who's super cool goth chick who got to run the show for us this episode and pick the movies, if you want to be like her and become a patron, then just go to Patreon and search for the podcast on to do. If you can't find it for whatever reason, you should be able to. You can message me directly on Facebook, or you can email us at the podcast on Haunted Hill at outlook.com, and I'll guide you there. We had somebody message me recently, actually, asking about becoming a patron, and I've directed him there. So we may have a new patron supporter very soon. If you become a patron supporter, you will get a free t-shirt posted directly to you wherever you live in the world, in the universe, in fact, I will say. Unless by some chance we get a Venetian someone from Venus join us, and we might still send it to you. You never know. But you'll get a T-shirt in the choice.
I don't know how much postage would be on that.
Yeah, I don't know. Mars is a bit cheaper.
See if Elon Musk could just let him throw it on a spaceship or something.
Elon Musk can take it to his Uranus. You'll get a T-shirt, and you will also get free access to exclusive content, such as any additional bonus episodes. We put up a video episode recently of us going ghost hunting, and I'll be putting the second one up soon. Every Friday we put up an old episode weekly. We call it Freaky Friday, so you can catch the earlier episodes, because we've been going almost 10 years now. And of course, every 3 episodes a patron gets to pick the 2 movies we review, and we've almost gone through full rotation of our patrons now, which means we'll be starting again soon.
That's cool.
So yeah, if you become a patron, you get all of that stuff as well as the chance to pick the 2 movies.
Yeah, and I just bought a GoPro recently, and they're fucking brilliant. They're so good. So I can easily record new content.
And it won't be dodgy.
No, because I make little videos of my showing some of my movie collection and stuff and things. So I like doing those. So occasionally I like those pop up. I pop up occasionally,
and sometimes I
for
do
your
stuff
pleasure
when I'm not inundated with my children. But yeah, so that's what patrons get, and you will also finally get me read out all of your names in a silly voice. So thank you so much to all of our patrons, and that includes Queen Lex Boo Boo Boo. That's Holly.
Thank you.
Thanks. Also, RJ McCready.
Thanks.
Rachel.
Thanks.
Sarah K.
Thank you.
I like your thank yous after each one. Kevin S5.
Thanks.
Jamie Jenkins.
Thank you.
Cool blimey, it's Matthew Godley.
Thank you kindly.
And Don Collier, because his name sounds like he should be in the mafia with a name like Don Collier.
Yes, Don, amazing, thank you very much. And do let us know if you got that T-shirt.
Yes, Don, hopefully you did.
I'm intrigued, because if not, I fucked up.
Because it took us so long for us to be allowed to send it. They kept telling you weren't allowed to post it.
Some weird cyber attack on the computer systems, so you couldn't post envelopes to America. It's like, what? Then I went and I said to the lady one day, "Can I now send to America?" And she's like, "Yes." With a, "Are you stupid?" Like, well, you're the one that told me. It's not, I don't get a fucking letter saying that I could do it again. How am I supposed to know?
Well, hopefully, Don, you got your T-shirt. If you didn't, we'll try again. Please let us know. But that's it, guys. That was episode 139. It was a patron pick. So thanks again to Holly for picking those 2 really random films, but good fun to chat around. And we had some animal attacks with Bill Murray.
Yep.
And it's going to be Final Destination for the next episode. So there we go. Anything you want to add or say before we...
Not really. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming along on our little journey with us. I hope you interested your brain cells for a little while.
I hope I've interested your brain cells, guys.
Yeah.
Well, it is a good night from John Cusack's really weird Nicolas Cage style hair.
It's a good night from Fizzy.
It is a good night from Fizzy. Don't, because you make me have a little tear. It's a good night from PVC latex boobs vampire lady.
Boobs. Yeah, it's a good night from Samuel motherfucking Jackson.
And it's a good night from what the fuck is this ending? Is it real? Is it not? Is he a phoner? I don't know what's going on, Stephen King.
Yes, good night. Make sure you shut those windows, doors, and everything's all safe. Good night.
And if you hear a phone ringing in your freezer, don't answer it.
Don't answer it. Don't answer it.
Because it's probably John Cusack's ex-wife.
Could be.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you for listening to the podcast on Haunted Hill. We will be back again real soon.